that it is, going to be more cost effective to do a narrow gauge.
No,
and of course,
what I'm saying, the same argument that was put for Eastern Gauge was put for Western Gauge. But it was now thrown away and everything is standard gauge there. When you come to the eastern part, you now bring back, oh, money did this and that. You cannot borrow money, foreign loan, to start doing something that you know will not last, will be thrown away. That's what we are saying. Compatibility is the first challenge there. Nigeria as a whole has the challenge of single track everywhere. So if you are in one station, you have to wait for another train to pass from the opposite direction before even you continue your journey. We are saying as engineers, we don't waste money again by coming to the east. You now say Eastern Gauge should be narrow gauge. When you want to transfer from Kaduna to Kafanchan, you start offloading from the wagons that are standard gauge, you start putting into the wagons that are narrow gauge.
Okay.
It is a completely uneconomical waste of funds and so on, and will lead to confusion.
Engineer
This
Wallo.
is why we are saying that everything should be standard gauge from now on.
Okay.
For better management, to save costs, and to do everything.
Okay.
Number two reason why we should go standard gauge throughout. Number two reason why we should go standard gauge throughout is many countries are phasing out the narrow gauge. Many countries, the only place you can see narrow gauge being used here and there is South Africa. We don't produce these things ourselves yet. So in South Africa, you go and line up and book your order. And you wait, the cost is more because you are waiting. The cost is more and the special order.
Okay, Engineer Ogolo.
From Japan you can get.
Engineer
but
Ogolo,
you can't
see,
compare
I want us
ourselves
to...
with Japan because they have adjustable rails and so on.
Okay, Engineer Ogolo.
The third
For
reason
people, apologies to Bottom, but for people who don't actually understand what we're talking about, they're hearing standard gauge and narrow gauge, I want you to actually break this down and tell us what are the advantages of using narrow gauge railway and standard gauge, because I've read articles that said it's better to use narrow gauge for areas that are hilly, and they say that that's more compatible with the eastern region. So what are the supposed advantages of using the narrow gauge and the disadvantages as well?
Yes, the argument that the eastern side is hilly is very faulty. The whole Nigeria, you have hilly area, terrain, you have this thing, and you have everything. So every side is the same thing. The argument before was on funding, because for standard gauge, you threaten in order to accommodate higher speeds. The curves cannot be too sharp. What we have on the ground now, the curves are very sharp in some areas. There was a job to straighten them, but it wasn't done well. So the present speed can be as low as 50 kilometers per hour to 100 kilometers per hour range. So to do the higher speeds of 150 to 250 kilometers per hour, you go to standard gauge. And as I said, the whole western Nigeria has gone to standard gauge towards the north. Those that were, it's just like Taiwo. You buy new dress for Taiwo. Then when you come to Kehinde, you say, Kehinde, use your old dress. It will not work.
Yeah, but
so that is the first point.
Yeah.
The first point is the money part of it cannot be an argument.
Why is that?
There is nothing like hilly side on the east and western side. The whole of Nigeria is the same thing. Now that we've gone to standard gauge on the west, we must do it again in the east for compatibility.
Okay.
Also, to join from one lane to the other, from Kaduna to Kafanchan, for example, you need to start offloading what you have to put on the tracks, because the wheels are made to agree with the rails. As I've said, the narrow gauge is 1.067 meters, while the standard gauge is 1.435 meters gauge. So the two coaches can never work. You have to offload from one to the other if you are joining.
Yeah, and it's one thing I was going to bring up, a lot later if we had the time for it. If we can connect the standard and the narrow gauge, but that, from what you're saying, it's not possible. But I want you to quickly respond to the minister, Rotimi Amechi, who says that, it's best that we do this now because of the funds that are available, and then we can, later in the future, get, standard gauge running. It says because of the time frame also that we have to ensure that these things, immediately start running, then let's make do with this first. That's what it sounds like. Would you, allow...
No, you don't do that. You don't do that. I'm sorry. You don't do that because we are borrowing foreign loan. The repayment is even from oil and gas mainly, gotten from this area that must suffer the narrow gauge, continue with the sharp bends and so on. The oil and gas for repaying these loans are from these areas. So that argument does not hold water. As I said, new awards had been on standard gauge. The former narrow gauge on the left had been awarded a standard gauge. So pleading money is no distance. But still, you can take it in stages. You can do Port Harcourt, Enugu, for example, Enugu, Makurdi, and so on. You go in stages as you have money available. But you do not borrow, take foreign loan to do something now, then 30 years' time, when you are still struggling to repay the loan, you say you want to change to standard gauge again. It will not work. For they say there are some other parts that will be standard gauge. And the arrangement for this line is to extend it to Owerri, to extend it to Abakaliki, to extend it to some other areas, Calabar and so on. Then you extend it to Bonny Port. You are extending the narrow gauge to all these areas. Meanwhile, the western gauge, the western line is all standard gauge. So the people on the eastern gauge will feel discrimination against them. In fact, they are talking of the eastern gauge carrying mainly low gauge. So the one of using it for transportation will not apply. They will not even bother. Okay. Yet, the western side is already enjoying from Lagos to Lagos to Ibadan. It's already on standard gauge.
Okay, Engineer Ogolo.
And we have already
Engineer
Abuja to Kaduna standard gauge.
Engineer Ogolo, we understand the grievances of the Nigerian Institution of Civil Engineers. They're saying, for interconnectivity purposes, it's better to use a standard gauge rather than a narrow gauge. But this is what the federal government has decided. So on your part, is the Nigerian Institution of Civil Engineers going to do anything, maybe write petitions to the government for them to change their mind and change the plan so that we have uniformity of the railway lines in the country?
We believe the federal government was not well advised. So as engineers, we feel we should advise them better. You do not take a foreign loan to build something that is virtually being abandoned everywhere else. Then our children and grandchildren will be paying foreign loan for what we know is not standard enough.
I'm saying, is there any official communication with the engineers to the government so that this can be done properly, according to you? Engineer Ogolo.
Well, for Port Harcourt Branch Nigerian Society of Engineers, we've released a statement stating exactly our views on this and to save money. We've also, Nigerian Institution of Civil Engineers, Port Harcourt chapter, we've also released a statement stating the views and advising government that it will be penny wise, pound foolish to go on narrow gauge with a foreign loan now.
Okay. All right, Engineer Ogolo.
And in 20 years' time or so, you think you will start building standard gauge. Do the correct thing now,
Engineer
so that
Ogolo,
the frustration and people
like
this side will feel that you are marginalizing them.
Okay.
It is not worth it.
Absolutely.
Politically, you build something for people to appreciate. The people will not appreciate it. They will think you are marginalizing them.
Okay.
All right.
The worst of all is that the money for paying
Thank you
is
very
from
much.
this side, which you are saying they should manage. They should manage narrow gauge.
Engineer Chima Ogolo, thank you very much. We would have to end it here. We'll have to end the conversation here. This is definitely going to be a conversation that would last for a while, and so we'll definitely be inviting you again to share your thoughts. When there's feedback from the Nigerian government or from the minister on in response to the Nigerian Institution of Civil Engineers. Thank you once again for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Absolutely. The conversation, of course, continues here on The Breakfast on Plus TV Africa. We're now going to be speaking next with Presidential Senior Special Assistant on Public Affairs, Ajuri Ngelale, also on the Eastern Corridor and the rail lines. The conversation between a narrow gauge and the standard gauge, what exactly are the challenges? And of course, what does the government really intend to achieve with a narrow gauge? And that comes up right next.
There has to be a decision point. The way your baby is presenting, we have to rush you in. And my partner at the time was like, "You going to cut her? Are you going to cut her? Is it going to leave a scar?" And I said, am I a belly dancer? What is the problem here?
No, I'm vulnerable about the future of the children, the future of mine and the future of the generation of my children.
I want to have nude pictures taken.
Of you?
Yes,
Yeah,
but
we
without
have
showing my
references.
private parts.
I
I want to
yeah,
put it
someone-
in my front room. And they said, you can't do that. People will be embarrassed when they came into your house. I said, well, it's my body and it's my front room.
All the things that we do, what is the purpose of it?
I just realized that I was more trusting before I was 6.
So many women, they just feel like I have to cook for my husband, I have to breastfeed my children, I have to pick them from school.
Because society expects
Then you
them
go
to.
home and you cry and you stop your career, you can't do anything, then you blame everybody. You took that choice.
What is a democracy? It's a government of all of us for all of us. So when we try to paint that picture, like you mentioned in your advocacy, they call you a hater.
The police remains brutal. They continue to do the same thing they were doing before that time. So can we just get more participatory in the process, including this generation?
Where is the hope? What's going to change? How is it going to change?
The lesson is that we need each other. And so this idea of we are better off than these other people, we should drop it.
Unfortunately, we live in a country of compromise that clearly, actually militantly, says we don't want the best. Just give us the one that is okay.
We have seen that the street did not deliver much dividend. It didn't. As a matter of fact, the people in power cowed them into submission. Let's get more involved.
You're welcome back to The Breakfast on Plus TV Africa. We're now continuing our conversation and debate over the Eastern Rail Line and the narrow gauge versus the standard gauge. And we're now being joined by the Presidential Senior Special Assistant on Public Affairs, Ajuri Ngelale. Good morning and thanks for joining us.
Good morning to you, my dear sister and brother, and thank you for having me.
All right. We just had a conversation with a representative of the Nigerian Institution of Civil Engineers, and he explained the concerns of, the engineering body in Nigeria as to, why the government would pick a narrow gauge over the standard gauge. He mentioned a lot of factors, and I wanted to start with the marginalization of the East that he mentioned. According to him, the narrow gauge has been phased out in many parts of the world. He says it's outdated and that there will be issues with interconnectivity, being able to move from the narrow gauge to the standard gauge. There will be a lot of challenges with that. He also mentioned that if the standard gauge has been, what has been in use in other parts of the country, why the narrow gauge for the Eastern Rail Line? And he's asking, would there be any marginalization here? Or letting the government know that that could be how it's been perceived. How do you react to that?
Thank you very much for all of these legitimate concerns and observations. I would just start by saying that you can trust Nigerians to attribute some form of political or ethnic dimension to just core infrastructural matters. Let me just say very quickly that the way this works is we're talking about a comparison between the Western Corridor, which is the Lagos-Abeokuta-Ibadan line, which is a standard gauge line. You're talking about under 200 kilometers, thereabout. You're now, not you, but people are now comparing that to a 1,400 kilometer line that if you want to do standard gauge all the way through will cost the nation 14 billion US dollars at a time when we have a revenue crunch, at a time when we are still trying to deal with how we are going to bridge a 50-year infrastructural deficit across schools, hospitals, airports, seaports, power plants, dams, farms, roads, bridges, and the like. $14 billion on one rail line, I think all of us can agree, is a whole lot of money. So this is a strictly financial matter and what makes the most sense for the country at this moment in time. Now, with that said, you're comparing that is now being compared with the Western Corridor line, Lagos to Abeokuta to Ibadan. That is approximately $1.9 billion. $1.9 billion versus potentially $14 billion. I think Nigerians, we're very practical people. We're very pragmatic. I think that the most Nigerians who understand the finances of what I have just mentioned, the links that I have just mentioned, will understand why it is that at this moment in time, we could not embark on a standard gauge rail line for Port Harcourt to Maiduguri at this moment. That does not now mean that it cannot be in future plans. But at this moment, we needed that development on the ground. And I think I need to add, very quickly, my brother, if you don't mind, that we must also acknowledge the fact that we had done a very extensive economic analysis of the rail lines in this country. We found that Western Corridor we're talking about, from Lagos to Ibadan to Kano, carries about 30 million tons of economic goods and services annually, as against the 11 million tons of the Eastern Corridor, the Port Harcourt to Maiduguri axis. So what we are saying is that if you have a line that is doing 3 times the economic value of the other rail line, it only makes sense to make the primary investment in the rail line that is dealing with 75% of the nation's import and export flows. That's just basic economic calculation. So I think anybody attributing the notion of marginalization to this, when we are spending $3 billion on this line, which is even more than the Western Corridor's Lagos to Ibadan.
This has been described as
new rail stations in all capitals of the state.
Kindly hold on.
All of that.
Ajuri, kindly hold on. This has been described as penny wise, pound foolish. Regardless of how much we're discussing that has been spent on it, because like the minister says, Rotimi Amechi said, that it sounds like what he's saying is let's make do with this for now, and later we can then invest, and of course get a standard gauge line. So doesn't that, isn't it better to make the proper investments now and get a standard gauge line running instead of spending $3 billion and then planning that later in the future will then, change to a standard gauge line?
No, not at all. First of all, we have to understand something. We have been searching for the $14 billion. By the way, let me just say it here for those who do not know, right? When the Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amechi, approached President Muhammadu Buhari concerning the Port Harcourt to Maiduguri line, it was President Muhammadu Buhari that said, look, I only want a standard gauge. I want a standard gauge. Let us go and find the financing for that $14 billion standard gauge. That is what I want. It was the minister who prevailed on him and said, sir, the reality is we have searched everywhere for where we will get financing of $14 billion for this line. And at this very moment, it is not forthcoming. So it is better for us to get economic activity on that particular rail corridor on a line that will not ever become moribund. See, I want to explain something very quickly.
But do you agree? We need to work with time, Ajuri. But do you agree that we are not spending money correctly here? Because there's also concerns about maintenance. They've said that these narrow gauge lines have been phased out in other countries in the world. So if we are doing this, does it also not become a problem that is something that would be difficult for us to maintain? It's difficult for us to get trains for, difficult for us to keep running because we don't have any of these resources here.
Yes, thank you very much for the question. First of all, that is factually inaccurate. What that man stated is simply not true. You have countries in Southeast Asia as well as other parts of Africa that are building narrow gauges right now. So those rail lines still have viability. That is not true at all. I want to be very clear about the difference in terms of specifications. The narrow gauge that everybody is trying to make it out to be that it's very useless It runs up to 100 kilometers an hour. For comparison, the Abuja-Kaduna standard gauge that we all talk about is about 120 kilometers per hour in terms of operating speed. You're talking about a difference of 20 kilometers per hour, and we're making it sound like it's 200 kilometers per hour difference. So that's number one. Number two, President Muhammadu Buhari also put in place a mandate that anybody coming into the country to build rail line must now, they have to build Railway University. We have 2 universities coming up, one in Rivers State, one in Katsina State, which is going to transfer the technology so that we can maintain our own narrow gauge and standard gauge rail lines. But I want to emphasize that this standard gauge is still going to be moving heavy cargoes through the eastern corridor of this country into the eastern ports. And so it's never going to be useless. Even when we build the standard gauge, that narrow gauge is still going to be very useful in terms of moving these large-scale goods, taking them off our roads, and moving them directly into the ports.
Okay,
even as we have the standard gauge,
Ajuri,
complemented.
we understand your argument here, but just lastly, is there any chance that the government might change its mind? You know, seeing all the opposition to this, people are saying the standard gauge is more durable, it has the capacity to, you know, take more weight, it's even faster and all of that. Is there any possibility that the government might change its mind, backtrack, and then, you know, invest in the standard gauge for durability and, you know, for sustainability in the long term?
I'm a bit surprised that we feel in this country that we cannot walk and chew gum at the same time. It is possible for us to build a narrow gauge line that can deal with the heavy cargoes, that can deal with the heavy economic, cargoes that will be coming through that axis, even as we now plan toward the standard gauge. I think for us to say that we must only have standard gauge, that is not how it has been done anywhere in the world. Most of these countries, they went through time, they went through a progression where they had the narrow gauge, then they had the standard gauge. Now many of them have even gone beyond the standard gauge into the very, very high-speed bullet trains. So it's a progression. For us, no line is going to be useless. I've already stated here that the difference is about 20 kilometers per hour.
So basically you're saying the government is going ahead with the narrow gauge despite the opposition to it?
Absolutely we are. Absolutely we are. Absolutely going ahead. And I think the opposition is not much, just in the quarters of those who had the chance to build these rail lines and absolutely failed. Even narrow gauge, they couldn't do it.
Well, also to clarify, you know, it might be stated as maximum speed 100 kilometers per hour, but it doesn't always hit 100 kilometers per hour. You know, it always is around 65 to 70 kilometers per hour. But just to put that out there. Ajuri, thank you very much for your time this morning. We see that you're on the road. And of course, we would like to have another conversation about this when we have more time. Good morning once again.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. God bless all of you. Take care.
All right. That's, you know, the most that we can share with you this morning. It's been a pretty tense morning from, of course, reverends to engineers and also economists, you know, a lot earlier. But thanks for staying with us. If you missed out on any of it, remember to join us on our social media platforms. It's simply @PlusTV Africa, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Same thing with our YouTube channel.
Yes, thank you very much for staying tuned. I am Anetta Felix.
The news comes up next. I am Osaogie Ogbonwan.
Bye-bye.
Love that cannot be described, care that cannot be quantified. That is what you give without limits.
A heart that cannot be hardened, a soul purer than rain.
That's who you are, and that's who you have made us become.
For the love you give that strengthens us, food that compares to none other.
For you would give the clothes off your back to see us smile again, and we will stay home every time you call to say you dreamt.
And the advice you give that takes us further. We say thank you.
We say thank you.
Politics has helped shape the decision of the polity, from conspiracy theories to good old-fashioned comic politics.
These are the results of tomorrow's election. Okay, you have it already, have you?
I am not hungry. If I need appointment, all I need to do is to start praising government.
Plus, politics will fill the polls of the country, from friends to frenemies, even strange bedfellows, to clones and stooges. We go beyond the rhetorics and the drama to analyze the story behind the story.
Let everybody come and say.
The moment we stop having charlatans occupy political offices, we will curtail hate speech.
Plus Politics, not just another political show. It's about putting you, the citizens, in the know.
This is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Buki November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better.
Thanks for joining us on Plus News Brief. I am Osaogie Ogbonwa. We begin the news on a sad note that one of Africa's most prominent coronavirus skeptics, Tanzania's President John Magufuli, is dead. He died at the age of 61. Vice President Samia Hassan said he died on Wednesday after more than a 2-week absence from public life that led to speculation about his health. Magufuli has not been seen in public since February 27th, sparking rumors that he had contracted COVID-19. And Tunisia's president visits Libya for the first such visit between the neighboring countries since 2012 in a boost for Libya's new UN-backed administration. According to official statements, President Kais Saied's trip aims to show Tunisia's support for the democratic process in Libya following the swearing-in on Monday of new interim Prime Minister Abdul Hamid Deiba on a pledge to reunite the divided country. The visit also aims to strengthen cooperation between Tunisia and Libya and to develop solidarity for increased stability and prosperity. And back home in Nigeria, the Federal Executive Council has approved the sum of $1.5 billion for the rehabilitation of the largest refining company in the country, the Port Harcourt Refinery. Minister of State for Petroleum, Timipre Silva, said the rehabilitation will be done in 3 phases, 18, 24, and 44 months.
According to the bill, the appointment of the Chief of Defense Staff,
Appointment of service chiefs of the Armed Forces of the Federation reflects federal character.
The Chief of Defense Staff, the Chief of Army
Function, I'm against this bill for the simple reason that it will over-protest.
It's not my opinion that the nays had it. We took a vote. The nays outnumbered or outweighed the ayes. So I think it's not right or it's not correct that the minority leader would impute the defeat of the bill to the President of the Senate.
Any senator may challenge the opinion of the President or the chairman by claiming a division. You have a right to vote. So, Mr. President, I claim a division and I want us to vote, one after the other.
The tense atmosphere forced Lawan to call for a closed-door session, after which he appealed to Senator Abarbe to withdraw the order.
Meanwhile, a bill for an act to give effect to Section 219 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to provide for the establishment of the Armed Forces Service Commission was swept aside after several debates by lawmakers on Wednesday. Sponsor of the bill, Senator Enaya Abaribe, representing Abia South, said the bill will enable the power and authority to ensure that the appointment and sack of service chiefs of the armed forces of the Federation reflects the federal character of Nigeria.
This bill seeks to get the National Assembly to give effect to the clear provisions of Section 219 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended. The Armed Forces of Nigeria is a national institution that should be insulated from the vagaries of political divisions, and therefore the framers of the Constitution, in their wisdom, inserted this section to prevent a situation where our national symbol of unity and strength could be sacrificed on the altar of political temperament.
And this divided the floor as it raised diverse opinions from lawmakers as to whether the bill should be passed or not.
I am saying this, that we should not end up making a law, which is an act of the National Assembly, that will derogate from the clear constitutional powers already conferred on Mr. President. But having said that, Mr. President, will I wait to see the deliberations of the public hearing and also wait for the clause-by-clause consideration when it comes before us?
Mr. President, yes, there's an Army Council. Yes, there's a Navy Council. Yes, there's whatever council. Let this National Assembly take the decision that representatives of such council shall also become members, automatic members of the of the Armed Forces Service Commission. Here is the point. Those who might not want a standardized manner of recruitment into our armed forces cannot run away from the fact that we will continue to allow such decisions to be shrouded in secrecy.
With me, for example, Chairman, I don't think there is really any need at this level. In terms of principles of the motion, I think the motion passes every test that it should go and pass the second reading. And when we come for the third reading of the bill after it has gone through the public hearing and all our legal and legislative processes, we should put our hands together so that we can come up with a law that does justice to the responsibilities that have been assigned to us by the constitutions of this great country.
This particular bill is important. The details will come out. If the details come out and the bill is not good enough for Nigeria, the experts, let us not feel that we have a reservoir of knowledge. We will invite people for public hearing. Those who will come for public hearing will also advise us whether this bill is good or not good. So at the end of the day, the report will be presented. And when the report is presented, we'll go for clause-by-clause reading. A particular clause that is not good enough
for this country will be taken out.
Still in the news, troops of the army have rescued 10 persons kidnapped from the Kaduna International Airport staff quarters, Ifira, in Igabi local government area. Kaduna Commissioner of Internal Security and Home Affairs, Samuel Aruwan, disclosed to reporters. He said the rescued victims have been reunited with their families after meeting with Governor Nasser El-Rufai. And still talking crime, the Imo State Police Command has paraded the suspect who allegedly kidnapped the auxiliary bishop of Owerri Archdiocese, Moses Chikwe, and his driver on the 27th of December 2020. Briefing newsmen at the command headquarters in Owerri, the police public relations officer, Orlando Ikoku, says the three suspects were arrested following a painstaking investigation. The suspects claim they never knew he was a bishop.
On the 27th December 2020, Imo State made headlines with the kidnap of the auxiliary bishop of Owerri Archdiocese, Bishop Moses Chikwe, and his driver, Ndubisi Robert. As a result of that, operatives of the command swung into action, and by the grace of God, during a strategized and coordinated operation, we were able to secure the release of the bishop, his driver, and other people held captives unhurt without any ransom paid.
So that day now, after that day, in the night when we are driving back, we saw a car and we traced the car. So once we are tracing the car, we block the driver blocked the car, and when he blocked the car, we bring two people inside, one driver and one man wearing white garment. The man said that he's a bishop. I said to him, let him leave the man. He commanded us to put that man inside the motor. We'll take the man to the keke bus. He said, no, let us put the man inside his vehicle. We'll carry that man and his driver to his car.
The police also paraded one Emmanuel Ogbonna for attempting to burn down the residence of the late Justice Chukwudi Oputa in an attempt to call the government's attention to his unemployment.
Something moved me and I burnt somebody's house in my community.
Who is the person?
He's popularly known as Charlie Boy. He's the son of Chief Justice Oputa. The family house of Chief Justice Oputa.
The Nigeria Center for Disease Control has reported 9 coronavirus-related deaths and 187 new infections on Wednesday. The NCDC said this in its official Twitter handle that the agency recorded 2 deaths on March 16th, adding that the country had registered 2,027 deaths since the pandemic emerged in the country on February 27, 2020. The country has so far tested 1,684,305 people since the first confirmed case of the disease. And as part of efforts aimed at curtailing the spread of COVID-19, the Ogun State government says it has vaccinated 800 persons with a call to residents to avail themselves for vaccination. Commissioner for Health in the state, Dr. Tomi Koka, made this known while speaking with newsmen at the training for doctors, nurses, M&E officers in 5 selected hospitals held in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital. The commissioner said the COVID-19 vaccines will be distributed to all local governments and wards. Dr. Koka says priority has been given to health workers as they have been in the forefront since the pandemic broke out.
Despite the fact that we're just scaling out today, we've already vaccinated over 800 people, which when I look at what they are reporting nationally, they've only vaccinated 8,000 people. So Ogun State has probably contributed 10% to what has been done nationally. So I'm looking forward to more of Ogun State citizens and residents coming out, engaging. The vaccine is safe, it's effective, and it's in all 20 local governments from today. The first phase is for health workers because they've been risking their lives looking after us, so we want to honor them by giving them first. The second phase, which should be coming soon, is for people over 50 and with underlying disease. The third phase will be the local governments that have high burden of COVID-19 disease, which will be Shagamu, Abeokuta South, and Ado-Daughter. And the last phase is every one of us that does not fit into those three phases. So we're looking forward to you filling out your e-registration form. Please fill them out. It generates a unique number for you. Then you need to upload your photographs as well, because when we do give you the vaccine, there are barcodes that we scan on, and once that is connected to your form, then anywhere in the world you go, you will know that you've received the COVID-19 vaccine.
The Ogun State government has urged members of Road Transport Employers Association of Nigeria to enroll in the state government's health insurance scheme, saying that it will be of great benefit to them. Commissioner for Health in Ogun State, Dr. Tomi Koka, made this known in her address shortly after the Road Transport Employers Association of Nigeria donated medical equipment to the Ogun State government. Dr. Koka commended the transport union for the kind gesture. She said the state government would use the equipment judiciously and for the benefit of residents.
Your gesture today actually aligns with his vision of providing quality, affordable and accessible healthcare for every single one of us. To speak specifically to your group as the Road Transport Employers Association, you mentioned the fact that you're the part of the population that is at risk of accidents. And our desire would be to engage with you through our insurance scheme, which we are developing. We're starting to roll it out to the organized private sector so that we can get your members to sign up to the health insurance program of the state, where you contribute a particular amount and any member of your group can turn up at any of our hospitals.
The state chairman of the Road Transport Employers Association of Nigeria, Titilayo Akibu, says the donation is also part of the corporate social responsibility, CSR, of the association to the state government. Speaking through the state secretary, Tiwalade Akingbade, he said the association had visited the 5 state hospitals and donated some of their needs.
The nature of our job, we are exposed to so many hazards, and apart from that, we know many people cannot afford to go to private hospitals, and our state hospitals, they need to be refurbished, and government alone cannot handle this. This is just part of, let's call it a corporate social responsibility. We need it, and the time we are in, the pandemic, it affects every sector. And we know, despite the vaccine, the pandemic, we still have so many cases every day. And this is our own way to help government in curbing the pandemic.
Now to stories outside Africa. The alleged gunman who killed 8 people at massage parlors in Atlanta, Georgia, has been charged with murder as police begin to identify victims. Officials cannot yet confirm if the attack, in which 6 Asian women were killed, was racially motivated. The suspect faces multiple counts of murder as well as aggravated assault. Cherokee County Sheriff Frank Reynolds said the suspect may have been a patron and claimed to have a sex addiction. The attack comes amid a sharp uptick in crimes against Asian Americans. And a WHO spokesman says an advisory group statement on the AstraZeneca COVID-19 shot is expected very soon. The group global health experts have come under increasing pressure to clear up questions over the safety of AstraZeneca's vaccine as a number of countries suspending its use grows in a blow to Europe's vaccination rollout. The European Medicines Agency has said it is investigating reports of 30 cases of unusual blood disorders out of 5 million recipients of the AstraZeneca vaccine.
We are expecting to maybe come for a statement by the Global Advisory Committee on Vaccine Safety to have a statement out today. Again, we're expecting it. It may come, it may not come. It's up to the committee.
The ongoing true experience of that vaccine is going to vary in community by community, in time period by time period, in the people who are actually vaccinated. So we should not overinterpret these specific numbers that come out of trials. They're all highly effective vaccines. They're all life-saving vaccines. They're all safe vaccines, and we should get on with deploying them. So anybody who's offered vaccines should take whatever is being offered by the program and assure that the vaccines that are being produced are used to their maximum benefit.
And now in business, an Italian court in Milan has acquitted Eni and Royal Dutch Shell in the oil industry's biggest corruption trial. The case centers around the purchase of a Nigerian oil field by Eni and Royal Dutch Shell for $1.3 billion about 10 years ago. After more than 3 years of proceedings and 74 hearings, judges withdrew to their chambers on Wednesday to consider their verdict and said Marco Tremolada, who heads the panel of judges, he also said, of course, prosecutors have called for Eni and Shell to be fined and for a number of past and present managers from both companies, including Eni Chief Executive Claudio Descalzi, to be jailed. The Director General of the World Trade Organization, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, says the organization will make progress on negotiations concerning the Doha Development Agenda in its forthcoming 12th Ministerial Conference. Okonjo-Iweala announced this at a news conference in Abuja. The 12th conference is scheduled to hold in Geneva in December. The DDA, known as the Doha Round, is the latest round of trade negotiations among the WTO membership. It is aimed at achieving major reforms in the international trading system through the introduction of lower trade barriers and revised trade rules. The WTO Director General, however, noted that the negotiation on the agenda was yet to be completed during the round and was still hanging. In sports, Chelsea have beaten Atletico Madrid 2-0 to reach the UEFA Champions League quarterfinals for the first time since 2014. Hakim Ziyech and Emerson Palmieri were on target to give coach Thomas Tuchel's rejuvenated team a 3-0 aggregate win. Substitute Emerson made sure of victory by scoring in the 4th minute of added time for Chelsea's second goal. And that's the news for now. For more, please follow us at Plus TV Africa on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And do subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa. We'll be back later with more stories. I am Osao Gie Ogbonwa. Thank you for watching.
Here's to strong women. May we know them, may we be them, and may we raise them. The progress of women is progress for all of us.
The World Trade Organization has appointed a former Nigerian finance minister as the new head of the organization.
I'm very proud to be the first African. I'm proud to be the first woman.
My guest tonight is a critically acclaimed author from Nigeria whose most recent bestseller. Please welcome Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie.
Giving priority to women is not an option, it is a necessity. So go, girl! Tell that story that has not been told before. Step into that spotlight and shine. Get up, get going. The world is waiting to be wowed by your very existence. Because when you go where no woman has been, you have no idea just how many will follow.
This is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Bookie November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
There has to be a decision point. The way your baby's presenting, we have to rush you in. And my partner at the time was like, "You going to cut her? Are you going to cut her? Is it going to leave a scar?" And I said, "Am I a belly dancer? What is the problem here?"
No, I'm vulnerable about the future of the children, the future of mine and the future of the generation of my children.
I want to have nude pictures taken. Of you? Yes,
Yeah,
but
we
without
had that
showing my
conversation.
private parts.
I
I want to
yeah,
put it
someone-
in my front room. And they said, "You can't do that. People will be embarrassed when they came into your house." I said, "Well, it's my body and it's my front room."
All the things that we do, what is the purpose of it?
I just realized that I was more trusting before I was 6.
So many women, they just feel like I have to cook for my husband, I have to breastfeed my children, I have to pick them from school.
Because society expects
Then you
them
go
to.
home and you cry and you stop your career, you can't do anything, then you blame everybody. You took that choice.
What is a democracy? It's a government of all of us for all of us. So when we try to paint that picture, like you mentioned in your advocacy, they call you a hater.
The police remains brutal. They continue to do the same thing they were doing before that time. So can we just get more participatory in the process, including this generation?
Where is the hope? What's going to change? How is it going to change?
The lesson is that we need each other. And so this idea of we are better off than these other people, we should drop it.
Unfortunately, we live in a country of compromise that clearly, actually militantly, says we don't want the best. Just give us the one that is okay.
We have seen that the street did not deliver much dividend. It didn't. As a matter of fact, the people in power cowered them into submission. Let's get more involved.
Politics has helped shape the decision of the polity, from conspiracy theories to good old-fashioned comic politics.
These are the results of tomorrow's election. Okay, you have it already, Abi.
I am not hungry. If I need appointment, all I need to do is to start praising government.
Plus, politics will fill the polls of the country, from friends to frenemies, even strange bedfellows, to clones and stooges. We go beyond the rhetorics and the drama to analyze the story behind the story.
Let anybody come and say. The moment we stop having charlatans occupy political offices, we will curtail hate speech.
Plus Politics, not just another political show. It's about putting you, the citizens, in the know.
Plus Sports and Plus TV Africa on a Thursday morning. Wow, what a day. My name is Wally Scott. Welcome on the show. Too many things I intend to discuss today. Too many things that confuses a lot of football fans, including myself. I'll tell you about it later on the show, okay? Now, Super Eagles coach Gernot Rohr has called up Genk forward Paul Onuachu for the 2021 African Cup of Nations qualifiers against Benin Republic and Lesotho. Rohr invited Onuachu, who was initially on standby, to replace Moses Simon, who has been stopped from joining the Eagles squad by French club Nantes. Onuachu's invitation was confirmed via the NFF's Twitter handle on Wednesday, that's yesterday. Now, Nantes had, via a statement published on their website on Wednesday, stated that Simon would not join the Eagles for the AFCON qualifiers. According to Nantes, all players selected for international duties outside Europe will not be released due to the COVID-19 protocols. Onuachu's initial exclusion from the 24-man Eagles squad released by the NFF last week sparked reactions from Nigerians, 26-year-old is Eagles' top scorer in Europe with 25 goals from 29 league matches. I will join by a guest later on the show. He's not due to network problems, but he'll come back very soon. I will start with that question. The question is, Onuachu is the highest goal scorer in Nigeria playing in Europe. He has scored 25 goals in 29 matches. How do you overlook a man like that and instead pick a Moses Simon, who is doing well too? But obviously, Onuachu, on paper, has done much better. 25 goals in 29 matches. And you put him on standby for Moses Simon. When my guest comes on the show, then we'll talk about that, okay? Now, club media officer Rowanu Malikawa says the technical advisor of Kano Pillars Football Club, Lionel Emmanuel, has resigned. According to Malikawa, the resignation letter was tendered to the club 2 hours before Pillars' home match against Kwara United. The spokesman said the management of the club would study the reasons he cited for the resignation after the match against Kwara United. Okay, I'll look at this next news later. A particular Nigerian footballer said that Enyimba should not jubilate yet. They should jubilate until after they have beat Orlando Pirates. Now, Enyimba lost 2-1 to Orlando Pirates in their second CAF Confederations Cup Group A match on Wednesday at the Orlando Stadium in Soweto, South Africa. Now, home side Pirates grabbed the lead in the 27 minutes through Dion Hoto. Enyimba equalized from the penalty spot in first half stoppage time through captain Austin Oladapo after Iwala Anayo was brought down by goalkeeper Siabongam Ponsane inside the box. Now, Paris had an opportunity to go ahead again after they were awarded a penalty in the 77th minute, but substitute Sekavatso Mabasa blasted his efforts wide. South Africans, however, claimed maximum points when Mabasa scored the winner with 1 minute of normal time left to play. Brownson, good morning. Good morning, Wale. Good morning, Brownson. Now, Brownson, let me start with the Super Eagles first off. The Super Eagles actually called Moses Simon and put Onuachu on the bench, on standby. Onuachu has scored 25 goals in 29 matches this season. How can you put a goal scorer that's on a bench and bring Moses Simon instead? Who does that?
You know, I mean, your guess is as good as mine. When we saw the list, we were surprised at Jonas choice of players, and it's very shocking some kind of decisions that the coach has made. I mean, everybody knows that right now, Onuachu is the hottest Nigerian striker we have with the Super Eagles. A lot of people have said when it comes to Super Eagles, it doesn't repeat the kind of form he plays in the stuff. It's inconsequential.
Okay, we understand the network is not, but like what Brownson was trying to say at that point was that everybody was surprised. The hottest thing in the market, the biggest assassin in the market right now
is... The coach have said that players will be invited to Super Eagles because Onuachu is the...
Okay, I think it's just due to network. We'll try and make some adjustments right now, and we'll come back. Please stay with us.
We can't talk about education reform if we don't decolonize our education system.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize. Because it's just cultural. And I think it's just human nature.
They stop paying us salary. I don't like remembering it.
I am angry at Nigeria. I'm angry at this government which seems to be letting us down. I'm angry at us as a people.
In the process of struggling to free myself from his hand, he tore my pants and he raped me.
Yes, I commit offense truly.
Young girl, do you know where you are going? I say, I'm going to America. I say, oh, Now so that they talk, you are going to Libya, which America?
As it then do mark our place, some people they die now.
This is Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
This is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Buki November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Welcome back. Now, Brownson, you were talking about Paul Onuachu and he's not being called up and put on standby, and Moses Simon comes ahead of him.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I was shocked at that decision made by General Raw. Like I said earlier, everyone knows that Paul Onuachu right now is the hottest property, hottest striker right now in Nigeria. It doesn't matter. Most people have also criticized the fact that he doesn't replicate his club form to national team. The only goal he scored was in Asaba.
I think I lost Bronson again. Okay. But next work, but he'll come back. I promise you he'll come back. But something happened to me this morning in the office. I don't know whether they plan to beat me, but they were very nice to me this morning when my colleagues in the office, because I didn't give Chelsea a chance against Atletico Madrid. And they all planned for me in the newsroom this morning, and they all came. All Chelsea fans, guns blaring. You will die today, Wale. Okay, I'm not dead yet, though. But I didn't give Chelsea a chance, if you ask my opinion. But I'll go to Brownson on this one when we eventually get him back online. Now, Chelsea have beaten Atletico Madrid 2-0 to reach the UEFA Champions League quarterfinals for the first time since 2014. Hakim Ziyech and Emerson Palmieri were on target to give coach Thomas Tuchel's rejuvenated team a 3-0 aggregate win. Substitute Emerson made sure of victory by scoring in the 4th minute of added time for Chelsea's second goal.
The amount of effort and intensity, the teamwork in both legs was fantastic and really incredible and outstanding. We missed 4 key players today, 4 or 5 key players, 4 of them always ready to start with Andreas, Thiago, Mason and Jorginho. Everybody else stepped up. We huge support from the bench, huge support from the stands, the guys who were injured and not here, and this is what I feel. Guys totally reliable. The effort and intensity is incredible, is hard teamwork. And I'm very, very happy because we have moments where we are excellent with the ball, but we never lose intensity against the ball. We play very brave and very courage in defending and adapt to any system that the opponents played today. So over 2 legs is a deserved win, which is a big win because it's the quarterfinal. And yeah, I'm super happy for my players. They play with a special bond, and fixtures like this and results like this give you the certain edge and the certain clue to achieve special things. You can only do this with a special atmosphere, and right now we are in this draw, and I'm pretty sure that nobody wants also to play against us, and this will be a super difficult challenge, of course, because we're in the last 8.
Welcome back. Now, Brownson, before we go to Chelsea, let you finish with Onuachu's case.
Yeah, Paul Onuachu, like I said, fantastic player, but it's unfortunate that he was put on standby. But we hope right now, with some few injuries coming in, he'll be able to come in and prove his.
I said earlier, my colleagues who are Chelsea fans came guns blaring this morning and saying that what exactly did I say on the show? That Chelsea will not make it happen against Atletico. Well, they did, both legs. What's happening to Chelsea's rejuvenation now? Hello, Brownson. Don't think I have any more. But right now, let's look at the UEFA. Hello, Brownson.
Hello, yeah. Can you hear me?
Well, yeah, we're looking at Chelsea's. What is causing this their big comeback from the dead?
I must tell you that I'm not really a big fan of Thomas Tuchel, but his style of play in recent times have been able to shut me up. Football really is about winning. It doesn't. It's not about sentiment and all of that. They've been fantastic under their new manager, and they'll be still unbeaten in the Champions League doubleheader against Atletico Madrid, which I probably thought that they'll get spanked, but they've been able to overthrow it. There's something that Thomas Tuchel must be doing right at this time, and is replicating.
You Brownson now would be a team that has a Kai Havertz, Timo Werner, Christian Pulisic, Ben Chilwell have no business losing games, and Lampard was losing games. Tuchel is here, and he's doing very well with the team. I think we've lost Brownson again. But the next question I'll be asking him will be, let's look at the draws for tomorrow. Tomorrow, 12 noon, Nigerian time. The draws will take place, quarterfinal draws will take place in Lyon, Switzerland. That's tomorrow for 12 noon. Now, the teams into the quarterfinal stages are, now, Bayern Munich, Germany. Borussia Dortmund, Germany. Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City, all England. Paris Saint-Germain, the French championnat. Porto, Portugal. Real Madrid, Spain. Those are the teams we have right now in the quarterfinal stage of the UEFA Champions League. Now, 2 German teams, 3 English teams, 1 French team, 1 Portuguese team, 1 Spanish team. Is football going back to England? All 3 English teams in the quarterfinals of the UEFA Champions League. And the question will be, is football going back to England? We only have Borussia Dortmund, RB Leipzig have dropped out. They only have Bayern Munich and Borussia Dortmund. But England still has Man City, Liverpool, and Chelsea in the squad. And the question will be simple. Is football going back to England? I don't know if I've got Brownson yet to discuss this. Okay, so the question would be, what next? One of these English teams will definitely get into the semi-finals, most definitely. And when they do, one of them will get to the finals. And it can be an all-English final for all you care. The match tonight, if I was a newspaper editor, my headline would not be Man United take on AC Milan, no. My headline would be Edinson Cavani versus Zlatan Ibrahimovic. That'll make a headline. Because Edinson Cavani is back for Man U. And of course, Zlatan is back for AC Milan. That is going to be a massive game. And Man United manager Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said that winning a trophy is not necessarily good. Indication of a progress ahead of his side's Europa League last 16th second leg against AC Milan, insisting the club is improving every day. The jury is still out on Solskjaer into his 3rd season at United, with the club having not won a trophy since the 2017 Europa League success when coached by Jose Mourinho.
I think you have to say that when you see the culture, what's happening every day, I feel a lot of improvement in the everyday routine, everyday work we do. The boys have taken on board what we want, and it's for others to assess how much of an improvement. We're 12 points ahead of what we were at the same time in the league last season. Of course, we're all aiming to win trophies at this club. But as we've said, sometimes a trophy can hide the facts, hide the other facts, what's happening at the club. It's in the league position, of course, you see if you're progressing really. And sometimes in the cup tournaments, you might be lucky, you might be unlucky.
Can Ole Gunnar Solskjaer really make it happen in Italy against AC Milan? Well, he's got men back. Paul Pogba is back, as we hear. David De Gea is back. Edinson Cavani is back. But for AC Milan, Zlatan is back. He calls himself Blue Blood. King Zlatan, he calls himself. And he goes up against an old foe, Edinson Cavani, against a club he played for a few years ago. Massive game, if you ask me. But with the return of Cavani against AC Milan in the Champions League, that will be a plus for Man U. But Zlatan back, a minus for Man U. Jose Mourinho has ruled out Son Heung-min's traveling with South Korea for their upcoming friendly with Japan if the forward is still injured. 20-year-old is set to miss out on Tottenham's UEFA Europa League last 16th second leg with Dynamo Zagreb today due to a hamstring problem. Mourinho also hopes England boss Gareth Southgate can find some compromise with Harry Kane to manage game time over international breaks.
Look, if a player is injured, a player cannot play a friendly, an official, doesn't matter the match it is. So if we arrive next week and the Son is injured, and we can obviously prove that to the South Korean Football Association, what is he going to do there? Nothing. So if a player cannot play for the club, the player cannot play for the country.
Now, matches we played tonight in the Europa League. Now, Shakhtar will take on Roma. Arsenal host Olympiacos. Zagreb travel to Tottenham. Now, Molde host Granada. Now, Ajax travel to Young Boys. Villarreal take on Dynamo Kiev. AC Milan will take on Manchester United. Rangers take on Slavia Praha. Massive games. And of course, some games men are looking forward to definitely has to be AC Milan against Man United in Italy. Wow. Massive game. Maybe Molde against Granada, but of course, Arsenal against Olympiacos, another game you have to look out for. So it has to be both English teams tonight. Man U against AC Milan. Arsenal hosts Olympiacos. Now, an inquiry for the Football Association has concluded that generations of young people suffered horrific sexual abuse at the hands of many of England's professional and amateur football clubs due to a wholesale absence of child protection policies, ignorance, and naivety. Led by Clive Sheldon QC, the inquiry found the FA culpable of institutional failure at its delay in introducing safeguarding after 1995, when Barry Bennell and some high-profile abusers in other sports had already been prosecuted and convicted. Bennell had first been convicted in 1994 in the US. The inquiry identified failures to act adequately on complaints or rumors of sexual abuse at 8 professional clubs, including Chelsea, Aston Villa, Newcastle, Southampton, Peterborough, and at Manchester City, Crewe Alexandria, and Stoke City, where Bennell was a youth coach.
FA did fail young kids between the period of 1995, after the summer of 1995 and May 2000. There was an institutional failing by the FA. They acted far too slowly in developing their child protection arrangements once they were aware of child protection being a problem within the sport, and they should have done more to keep children safe. With respect to cover-up, I've seen no evidence of that, either at the FA level or at the club level. What I have found are institutional failings by the FA between the autumn of 1995 and May 2000.
This is a dark day, but we are referring to non-recent cases, and I think Clive Sheldon is very, very clear that our failures are predominantly from 1995 to 2000, and at the same time pointing out that we are offering leading safeguarding standards today. So we have to hold our hands up and apologise for the mistakes of the past, make sure we don't repeat them, but that's not to say that football is not in a safe environment today. It is.
Don't let's lie to ourselves. Are there cases of sexual abuse in football, especially in the young teams, in the academies? Yes. Have they acted slowly? Yes. And somebody there was apologizing for acting slowly, and they promised to act faster next time. These things will exist. Acting fast might slow it down or stop it totally, okay? Barcelona coach Joan Laporta gave Lionel Messi a hug and then pledged to do everything in his power to convince the club's all-time scorer to stay after being officially sworn in as the club's new president on Wednesday. Laporta's speech to Messi came 2 days after the Argentine equaled Xavi Hernandez as the club's highest appearance maker on 76-7 games, marking the occasion by scoring twice in a 4-1 rout of Huesca. I'll do everything I can to make Leo stay because he's the best player in history, Laporta said in his speech at the Camp Nou, as Messi and fellow captains Gerard Piqué, Sergio Roberto, and Sergio Busquets watched on. James Harden recorded his 11th triple-double of the season to lead the Brooklyn Nets to a 124-115 road win at the Indiana Pacers on Wednesday. Harden had 14 points, 15 assists, and 10 rebounds for the Nets, who were without the injured Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. The Pacers' Domantas Sabonis had a triple-double of his own, scoring 18 points, 11 rebounds, and 11 assists, as the hosts took control. But they were undone by Harden after the break. He had just 15 points and 7 assists after 2 quarters of the game.
Has been a starter, has come off the bench and played well. He was James Harden's teammate in Houston. And look at another. And LeVert picks up the errant pass. It was tipped by Johnson. Boy, he's so good with the ball, Quinn.
Yeah, because Chris, he handles it so well, puts so much pressure on you.
It's another turnover. It's another turnover. Brogdon lays it in.
Good active
by Brown. Harris.
That is a guy in Harden trying to make. Brooklyn was going to have 3 people waiting for him when he got there.
And that goes, he splits it. Harden puts it up short. Got his own rebound, and we're tied.
Yeah. No boxing one. Zone underneath the man-to-man by McConnell.
Minute mark we go. And Harden with a left hand got it.
Everybody's hand.
Yeah. I mean, that's just apropos, and Claxton pounds it home. Night for James Harden. 5-time scoring leader. Gets around Brogdon, puts it up, and...
The game was all Harden, if you ask me. We apologize for not being able to have Bronson One on the show. Network problems. He's promised to be here tomorrow. And of course, sit back and relax, buy a popcorn, get a drink, and watch Arsenal against Olympiacos tonight. And of course, AC Milan against Man United, the game everybody is waiting for. And of course, everybody says, well, Tuchel, welcome back, the Messiah. He's brought Chelsea back from the dead. Join us same time tomorrow on another edition of Plus Sports on Plus TV Africa. My name is Wally Scott. Like I always advise you at the end of every show, if not for anything, at least for your hearts, do some sports.
For upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Vicky November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Decision point. The way your baby's presenting, we have to rush you in. And my partner at the time was like, "You going to cut her? Are you going to cut her? Is it going to leave a scar?" And I said, "What? Am I a belly dancer? What is the problem here?"
No, I'm vulnerable about the future of the children, the future of mine and the future of the generation of my children.
I want to have nude pictures taken.
Of you?
Yes,
Yeah,
but
without
have
showing my private parts. I want to put it in my front room. And they said, you can't do that. People will be embarrassed when they came into your house. I said, well, it's my body and it's my front room.
All the things that we do, what is the purpose of it?
I just realized that I was more trusting before I was 6.
So many women, they just feel like I have to cook for my husband, I have to breastfeed my children, I have to pick them from school.
Because society expects
Then you
them
go
to.
home and you cry and you stop your career, you can't do anything, then you blame everybody. You took that choice.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
A 500 naira they collect them.
If you no talk, then go beat you.
Now 2,500 when they pay.
In African countries, including Nigeria, albinos are classified amongst the vulnerable groups of society, which includes people living with various kinds of physical disabilities.
Being an albino, it's not really easy, but at times I enjoyed it because I remember back then when they would give us some work to do in school. Because of my color, my father will be angry that they asked me to follow the other students, the other children, and do the work in the field. So most of the times I did not follow them and work. As I was growing up, it was not easy because at times when coming back from school, the sun will turn my color to red and I'll be like, oh God. In fact, it was not that sweet My mommy has to carry me to school most of the times with umbrella, bring me back in the afternoon. In the morning, she will take me to school, and in the afternoon, she will come pick me back with umbrella.
The prevalence rate of albinism in Nigeria is ranked amongst the highest in the world, with an estimated figure of over 2 million albinos living in the country. By implication, people with albinism in Nigeria represent one of the largest vulnerable groups in the country today.
The UN model to disability is either social, physical, intellectual. That's the 3 major categories. And what's the definition? Is there any permanent impairment which somebody have that will not allow him or her to operate on equal basis with others? And that means if you can run. If I'm on a wheelchair, I cannot compete with you because of the condition. And it's now permanent. I'm permanent on a wheelchair. Of course, we have temporary disability and we have permanent disability. And according to the UN, which is an international, if the UN redefines, then we will know. Say it's physical, it is intellectual, it can also be social. There's another one. Mental. Physical, mental, intellectual, and social. Okay. And any physical, permanent physical, social, intellectual, or mental condition that is permanent, that will not allow anybody to operate in the society on equal basis with others. That is in terms of employment, in terms of education, in terms of healthcare, in terms of job. Okay. On albinism, our skin is susceptible to cancer far higher than yours. That is physical. If an albino is exposed to the sun over a period of 10 years, there is a 90% chance, 95% chance. Of course, we are saying that there are different classifications of albinism depending on the melanin level. Melanin is what protects your skin from the sun by natural. So we have people who acquired disability, but naturally we came out into this earth. That is why we are not persons living with albinism, we are persons with albinism. So we came out to this world without enough melanin, and sometimes it can be very low. I do have, but it's very low. Depending on how white the skin, the hair, that is how you notify it. So by that condition, if I go under the sun and do marketing with you for 10 years, almost nothing will happen. Of course, you see, you'll be darker. But the sun will burn my skin. And it can lead me to cancer, which is extremely costly. That is on the physical.
Children constitute about 40% of this population spread across all the states in Nigeria. We visit the Udochukwus, where 3 of their children are albinos. What is life for them, you may wonder.
When I was pregnant, I never knew I would give birth to an albino child. But when I gave birth to my first daughter, albino, I don't take it as if it is anything. I did not know they have another word. I don't know. But I know everything. The child is child.
First of all, children is a gift from God. So whether albino or not albino, children is children. And we thank God that He, God, giving us these children, and in spite of the fact that albinos, to maintain them is very difficult based on what they use and the challenges of them going to school and dealing with sun. So it has not been easy. Us as a parents handling them. So the challenges we have as a parents, we be afraid that based on rumors we are hearing of people using albinos for rituals or so. So sometimes if they go to school, we are afraid whether anything will happen to them. But at the same time, we still pray that God should protect them. The other one is what they use. Their cream, the soup is very, very expensive. And this time around that this COVID-19 has affected every sector. Like presently, like me, as your dad, it not affected my own job. You know, that's not been easy for me to take care of them.
At times, I felt bad. It's her school. If she's going to school, if she comes back, I want to cross-check her book. There are some things I don't get. I'll ask her why. She said she did not see those things, those spaces. She did not see what was on the board. I said, why didn't you go close? She said everybody was shouting, oh, you go out from the road, oh, you go out from the road. I said, are you not sitting at the front? She said she's sitting at the front with your glasses. And again, you are not still seeing. So at times, even when she comes back, I'll see her body red. I'll go to the school, I'll quarrel, I'll rake. They say they've been trying to hold Oyibo is that if she sees her mates playing, she's not really happy that she's alone in the class. If the teacher, they remove their face, and before you know, Oyibo is inside the song.
There are two types of albinism. Type 1 is oculocutaneous albinism, which is the pigment is lacking in the eyes, in the skin and hair. This type of albinism is more prevalent. Type 2 is ocular albinism, which is much less common and involves lack of pigment only in the eyes. People who have ocular albinism have generally normal skin and hair color. Many even have normal eye appearance. Despite their stated vulnerability and strength in number, and unlike other vulnerable groups in Nigeria, albinos least enjoy the same level of special attention, security and support from governments at all levels in the country, it would seem. Statistics show that over 600,000 Nigerians with albinism suffer discrimination from their families, schoolmates and even peers.
Some people start being discriminated or face discrimination right from their home. You see parents, the reports we get, I didn't experience that in my house, and that's what helped me. I didn't experience discrimination in my house. So you see a child, when the mother is going out, lock the child in the door, in the house. When they are in the church together, or in the market together, or in somewhere together, in an event together, they want to start going, and the mother will tell the child, oh yeah, go there and wait for me. So the child already feeling, not understanding the challenges he's facing. Of course, knows he's facing short vision, the burn of the skin. But for the fact that the mom said, what are you looking for? In the presence, I said, go and get out of this place. It's really happens. You walk on the road most of the time in the night. You will not fear as I will fear. Because of that institutionalized stigma. Like I've named that, our ladies, it is 3 times easier for a young dark-skinned lady to get married than an albino lady. They will have the same qualification. Maybe even the albino lady will be more beautiful, or maybe have more, you know, what they call all those packaging and all that. But just for the fact that she's an albino, the social orientation of that community, in 10 years, in 20 years, when we are done with the social, we have used a lot of sensitization and reorientation to bring down this stigma. When we call it institutionalized, that means in 90% of the cases you'll be discriminated.
Chidinma recalls her job hunting days and how she was denied an opportunity just because of the color of her skin.
We were like 3 girls. They took those 2 and still request for extra 1 person. They said the kind of food we eat is different. Our cream and everything about us are very expensive, that they cannot afford it. I was like, what kind of food again do we eat? I don't know. We eat normal food. The woman said, no, we don't have money. I beg, oh, please, oh, come and be going. I felt bad. In fact, I cried as I was going because I know I can do the job very well.
However, in spite of the color of their skin, they remain comfortable in themselves while acknowledging what may appear as their peculiar challenges.
I use this to see, just like this,
to see whether I can see what is written in the board.
Being an albino has been both blessings and there have been challenges. The color is one of the unique things about us. You don't want to be related with because you are white, and you also want to be related with because you are white. Some people already have this phobia for you being white, and so in some cases it will see as a disadvantage. People might not want to do businesses with you, especially for the business owners. But for some people who want to do business with you because they are seeing a different kind of person, they've not met an albino before, they've not experienced an albino before, they want to see how this person thinks, how this person works. They want to, it's a blessing, it's Pep's way.
Being an albino have also helped me a lot. There are several places that I've been to that I couldn't, if not because I'm an albino, I wouldn't have been able to get to that stage, get to that place. So, yeah, it's true I'm an albino, but I love being an albino. I just ask God to help me with life, strength, because I know that apart from the sun and the sight, there is nothing else that if I want to achieve with my life that I cannot achieve.
I think the light clicked on me when I was doing marketing in a particular day. When a man told me something spectacular, I said, "You are peculiar. Use your color to make money." So before then, of course, the reality is and has been that there are so much challenges that persons with albinism face. That is stigma, pressure. At times, it even makes you to begin to doubt yourself. So when the man told me that, look, I was merchandising something, saying you are peculiar or you are spectacular. Use your color to make money. So, and that showed me that there is an angle you can begin to consider. It means that you have to work hard. It also means that there are possibilities that you can go without allowing the pressures that was then.
I don't see myself different from them. It's just a difference of color. I'm blessed just as they also are blessed.
Grace is a teacher, and while schools are on lockdown as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, she has her little lesson class going on.
Make sure you can write what I can read. Please write very well and make your letters bold and your numbers bold so that I can go through it. Thank you. Hurry up.
And her story is not any different.
Sometimes when you're walking around the street, you see little children following you about, singing so many kind of funny songs about albinism. Some will call you Oyibo Pepper, some that doesn't eat pepper, you don't take salt. Some will be singing all funny kinds of songs for you. But well, I don't do anything. I don't get angry. I will just walk away because I know I am unique, I am special and beautifully made. I'm just like them, but a difference of color. So an albino, being an albino is a blessing to me and also to my family.
She have accommodation problem, then I decided to take her in to come and live with us. So since then, she has been so nice. I have never seen, they are saying people are bad or albino, they do this, but on her own side, I didn't see anything like that. Every albino will be like her. Honestly, I would like to have albino.
While they lived their lives as best as they could, they also acknowledged the so many myths about them and somewhat unkind words thrown at them sometimes.
I still keep hearing people say, "Owolele you." This is money on daily basis in the streets of Lagos. But it doesn't used to impact me the way it used to. You know, reason being that I've actually understood that I don't think that anybody can have that power and influence to harm me if I have not hurt him.
When I'm walking on the road, the people, the Yorubas, they will say, "Owore, Owore," meaning this one is money, this one is money. I was like, what is this? How do I become money for them? Some say yes, if you use this one for money ritual, you make money. Well, it doesn't affect me, it doesn't discourage me.
My fear for the children at times is mostly Yoruba friends. They say, don't let your children to go outside because of people that are all these ritualists, they do this. Then when I was staying at Ikotu, I didn't take it as anything because I go to Yoruba church and they used to tell me, so I'm always careful. But when I came here, I said, this area is Igbo domain. But I still thank God. A neighbor nearly did that, which somebody caught.
Moving around in the night, I personally did not like it. Not because I'm an albino, but just because I don't like it. Then in some areas that I stay, I remember where I was working before, the owner of the place told me that I should not move out once it's 6 o'clock. I was like, why? What happened? He said that they will use me for money ritual. I was scared. In fact, I was scared of the man, so I left the place because for him to just tell me that on my first day, I was so scared. Made this man not even come and use me for the money ritual.
And away from all of these, I asked them about relationships as well.
In the area of relationship, well, it's not been easy, indeed. Well, people don't easily accept people like with albinism. Well, I happened to meet a friend. We were together, but along the line, he quit. Since I started growing up, I've been seeing different kinds of people. But there is one person that amazed me most. He's a black. When I met him, he told me that he has signed that without person living with albinism, he has nothing to do with another person. It really, really encouraged me. It made me feel happy.
I'm only in the good market now, Abby. So I hope to be in a relationship soon. But I have not considered this a problem, okay? For me, I don't believe everybody should like me. No. Not because I'm an albino.
Anyways, in terms of relationship, at times, like in the past, I was dating someone that I thought I would end up with, but the family of the guy, because I'm an albino, they said no. And that kind of thing has been happening several times in my life. So at a time, I have to accept it this way. In fact, I don't want it to make me feel weak. Because I know, I take it that this is what life, what my fate, this is how it is with me, so I have to take it. Yes, I cannot go to their mind to change their mindset or tell them how good I am. I believe if they want me, they'll be patient to know who I am instead of judging with my color. I intend to get married someday, but for now, I'm in a relationship right now.
But among these children, there is seeming no discrimination at all. Grace tells me singing is one of her hobbies, and she sang this song with a message in it.
No matter your tradition, we are one. No matter your culture, we are one. No matter your tribe, we are one. Let's come together as one. No matter your language, we are one. No matter your family, we are one. Whether rich or poor, we are one. Let's come together as one.
Love that cannot be described, care that cannot be quantified. That is what you give without limits.
A heart that cannot be hardened, a soul purer than rain.
That's who you are, and that's who you have made us become.
For the love you give that strengthens us, food that compares to none other.
For you would give the clothes off your back to see us smile again. And we will stay home every time you call to say you dreamt.
And the advice you give that takes us further. We say thank you.
We say thank you.
Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria with 351,861 hectares of land, is the authentic home of every tribe and tongue in Nigeria. The state, though small in landmass, is controversially the most populous state in the country. One of the neighborhoods in the state is Obalende, located in Etiosa local government area. The area is strategically a historic site because before the relocation of administrative capital from Lagos to Abuja, it was the seat of power of the military head of state, the Dodon Barrack. Historically, a Royal West African Frontier Force, predominantly Hausa men, were initially camped on the land where the famous King's College is situated. Then there was a need for the use of the land, and the Oba of Lagos was said to have pressured the governor of Lagos to resettle the Hausa men and sold the land in what is now Obalende to the British colonial masters. After resettlement in the purchased land, the Royal West Africa Frontier Force men named the place Ibiti Obalewade, which translates to the place where the king drove us to. Obalende, though crowded, is famous for its nightlife and for its suya sport, with a junction popularly called Suya Junction. For ease of administration, former governor of Lagos State, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, created additional 37 local council development areas from the existing 20 local council areas. So the current Obalende is carved out under Ikoyi Obalende Local Council Development Area. Ikorodu town is another historic location in Lagos, located in the northeast area of the state along the Lagos Lagoon and shares a boundary with Ogun State. Currently, the town houses Ikorodu local government area and 5 local council development areas. Kabiru Shotobi is the king of Ikorodu, traditionally known as Ayogbunre of Ikorodu, who ascended the throne from October 24, 2015. The name Ikorodu came about from people whose ancestors descended from the Remo stock of Yoruba tribe who came to settle on a plateau and named it Ikorodu, a shortened word from Oko Odu, which literally means Odu, farm. The current metro area population of Ikorodu in 2021 is 989,000, a 5.44% increase from 2020. Trading, farming, and manufacturing are some of the things Ikorodu is known for. Ikeja is the capital of Lagos State, formerly called Akeja. It was named after a deity of the Awori people of Ota, who originally settled there. The area was invaded for slaves until the mid-19th century. Ikeja, an abbreviation meaning of Ikorodu and Ekpe joint administration, was coined by colonial administrators for ease of administration. It is the official seat of the governor of the state, where the state secretariat is also located. It is also where the domestic and international airports are located. Its population as of 2006 census is 330,196. Ikeja is home to one of West Africa's largest gadget markets, popularly known as Computer Village, and home to a shopping mall known as Ikeja City Mall, which is the biggest mall in Lagos mainland and also has a cinema. These are some interesting places that make Lagos a world-class destination.
Greatness, once again, is about to be televised. And of course, this time where we dissect, of course, this is Tea Time, where we dissect and analyze what's big and popping in the world of entertainment. And if not, he ain't coming out of the sleeps. I'm definitely not alone. I've got my intelligent co-anchors, Ife Omai, and introducing our guest anchor, Adewale. How are you doing?
I'm good.
You sound excited. Like, yeah, let's see.
Of course, I'm so excited to be on.
Yeah. Wale.
Yeah. Yeah. I should say my name is Wale. W-A-L-A-Y. Wale.
It's not W-H-A-L-E.
No, I had to spell it for them. You know.
How about W-H-A-L-E-Y? Wale.
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 Yeah.
All right, so tell us about yourself. What have you been doing? And introduce yourself to us.
Okay, Wale is a presenter, a producer. I create content as well. A journalist, and I also direct. Yeah. So.
What else do you do aside from this media industry? What else is your strength?
I listen to music a lot.
What type of music do you listen to?
Any kinds of music.
What's your favorite album at the moment?
Still Pop Smoke.
Pop Smoke. What album? What album is that?
And the album 50 Cent produced for
Yeah,
him.
I know. What's the title?
I won't lie to you. I'm not really.
Oh, wow, and you love that
album. But I
album.
love that album because I listened to it.
Great.
Yeah,
All right. So, what's your greatest single, Nigerian single of the moment?
A single right now. I think I like Lighter.
Lighter.
Yeah.
What song?
The one he featured with Naira
What's the
Marley.
title of the song?
Sure.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
All right, great. Are you sure?
Yeah.
Are you sure? It's
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Are you sure?
I just saw the video
it's
yesterday,
sure?
and
Are you sure?
You saw who yesterday?
I saw the video yesterday.
Are you sure? It's sure.
I'm sure.
That
It is
it's
sure.
The title had to do with sure.
Are you sure? It's
Oh
sure.
God! But I know it's sure. Are you sure? Are you sure?
Huh?
Are you sure?
That's
Am
the
I?
name of the
Are you
song.
asking me a question?
No.
Am I sure?
The song.
It's what?
Don't twist me. The song has to do with sure.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, so that's just what I like about.
Are you sure? It is sure.
I'm sure.
You are sure that it is sure.
Everything is okay
Alright.
with you this morning.
I don't know. Anyway, that's it. Lighter. I love the song.
So okay, so let's talk about your entertainment background. How vast are you in entertainment?
I'm still trying.
You're still.
I won't say I'll just say I'm.
So
still
what's
trying.
your forte? Do you think you're the entertainment guy? Do you think you're the political guy? Or yes?
Entertainment.
Entertainment.
If I'm not in
So what's your
entertainment-
biggest? What's the biggest entertainer in Nigeria at the moment, as far as you can,
We
in
all
your
know.
opinion?
We all know it's Mr. Bronner now.
Mr. Bronner.
right.
Why? Because he won the Grammy.
And of course, because that's what is actually everywhere. Bronner
Is that what makes you the biggest artist in the continent?
In the
because you
continent.
won the Grammy.
Well, as for me, I can't think of anybody right now in Nigeria.
You don't think Davido is big enough? You don't think Davido has been putting us on the
Davido
map
is
for a
good.
long
Everybody's
time?
good, but Burna Boy, we know. At least I can't.
Is that your favorite Nigerian artist?
No, he's not my favorite Nigerian artist.
Who's your favorite Nigerian artist?
I don't really have a favorite Nigerian artist.
Okay, so if you have to pick 3 artists from Nigeria, who are they?
Definitely, I'll go for Burna. I'll go for Two-Face. And then, once again, I'll go for. I think I'll go for Naira Marley.
Naira Marley. So you like Naira Marley?
I like
What's
Naira
your
Marley.
biggest Naira Marley song?
song?
Wait, now I'm getting to
No,
know my
no,
guy
he-
now.
he
Come
needs-
on,
no,
did
no,
I
no,
get
no,
to know
no.
you? What's your biggest Naira Marley song?
Kò lè yé wọn.
Can you sing like a few lines of Kule Yewa?
Kò lè yé wọn. Kò lè yé wọn. Tó bá yé wọn. Come on. I just like the rhythm of that song,
Ọmọdé dọ́gbọ́n fi sí.
Oh no.
Àgbà dọ́gbọ́n fi sí. How
and
you
then,
no
you
go
know,
no?
people like, one thing I noticed about Naira Marley is that he sings from whatever is going on around. It's not all about, I have to be careful because, that's why he said his song is not for, I think there was time he said his song is not for kids.
Yeah.
Because he's deep.
What's your biggest embarrassing moment?
Oh. When I was probably shooting, and I discovered that after the shoot, there was no audio. And then I had to...
Can you speak up a bit, please?
I had to find a way
Yeah.
how to, communicate with the guest again. That, man, it's like you have to come around again. It was very embarrassing to me because it made me look as if when I wasn't a professional in what I was doing. That how were we going to be shooting? And at the end of the day, though it was a technical thing, but I just felt embarrassed, you know.
Alrighty, welcome to the squad. So we all have something in common now. At least we have Naira Marley in common. We have what's it called now? You know, embarrassing moments in common. So yes, welcome to the squad. Welcome Adewale. Yes, Adewale will be joining us this morning to discuss some of the biggest entertainment stories, and we have something special for you guys. Now we'll be introducing a new segment on the show that you guys never seen before segment. But yes, it's called the half-hour hot topic. So you need to stick around to actually see what's going on with that. But moving on, the first story of the day is a Nollywood actor, Yul Edochie, who has disagreed with his father, Pete Edochie's stance on gifting in-laws. The patriarch of the Edochie family, in a recent interview, said any father who wants to gift his married daughter a car and gives it in a name is destroying the daughter's marriage. He advised the father to buy the car in his son-in-law's name. Yul disagreed with his father's opinion. He wrote, "Of course, Chief is entitled to his opinion. And back then, their ways were different. For me, if I buy a car for my daughter as a wedding gift, I'll give it to her to register it in whatever name she likes. If she asks me to do the registration for her, then I'll register it in our name." Do you guys agree or disagree?
Okay.
Like this type of story just give you a headache.
First of all, I saw that story yesterday, and I was like, this man again. The truth of the matter is that this is like the second time Pete Edochie is actually coming through when it comes to this issue of marriage. You know, the last one where he was talking about why would a man go on his knees to propose? That was the first one.
That was the first.
Yes, that was the first one. He came with that, and and now he's coming again with this.
Did you see the one that happened on, I think on Monday? That broke over the weekend, and then on Monday it was all over the place. You didn't see anything.
The one about the condoms.
About the condoms.
Okay, saying that
women should put condoms.
Yeah. It was part of the
It's the same
story.
video.
It's the same video, yeah.
Yes. So, to me, I just feel the man is just being. He's been an old school. And sorry, I'm not trying to be tribalistic here, but you see when it comes to Igbo, they are very, very careful, and they are very, very particularly about their men, their tribe. When it comes to a man heading the family, they don't joke with it. They don't joke with it. Especially, they always want that respect.
Right.
But let's talk about the new generation as well. Do you think that regardless of whether you're Igbo, Hausa, or Yoruba, we should still be all about patriarchal stuff? That because you are a man, you have to be the head, you have to be this. Don't you think that at this point in our lives, haven't you had women that you have to share things equally with, especially when it comes to power?
Well, this our generation. This our generation is quite crazy. It's a very crazy generation, and things have changed. I feel. Old things are passed away.
And all things have become new, Pastor.
But we still have some of our daddies that still believe that their own time is still, the best right now and all that. But I believe it's just Pete Edochie's opinion.
Yeah, and let's keep it at that. This is not set in stone. It's not a law.
But what do you think?
I mean, it's very ridiculous. This whole thing is very ridiculous. And I'm sorry, but it's beginning to make me even now despise the idea of his son actually being in politics. At first, I thought, because if he respects his father in any way, and maybe his father has influence over his life, then I worry for the kind of Nigeria he's planning on building.
But you just disagree with his own father.
Yeah, but not really. He still said, well, whatever name she wants to put it in. And I don't know, maybe he's disagreeing with this one, but then are you agreeing with a lot of other things? I don't know. It just feels like he's the kind of person that I'm like, actively fighting against, especially for my country. So I'm on the opposite spectrum of who Pete Edochie is and everything that he stands for, right? So I feel like there's an intellectual war going on with these kinds of people and my kind of people, right? So if his father if he's anything like his father, then it worries me that he will even come into politics. Like, I mean, right now it's just on social media with the camera. It's not harmful. But imagine this kind of person ruling. You surely start to see like policies that are trifling women and really boxing women, because you can't even imagine women owning properties. Like, you're taking us back. You're taking us back. You're trying to really eradicate all the progress that we've made. So that's really scary for me. And so I wish he condemned it a bit more than just, oh yeah, whatever my daughter wants, I will put it. So if my daughter says, nah, I need the kind of person then that if your daughter said, oh, please put it in my husband's name, you'll be the one to ask her that. Are you okay? Sure about that? Like, are you okay? Why don't you want to own your own properties? So that for me is crazy. I mean, I remember when we were talking about the whole condoms thing. I said it when he was like, if the guy says he wants to marry somebody else, what will you do? What will you do? This man clearly wants women to be unempowered.
Seriously. That's
Seriously unempowered.
Right.
Because owning properties gives you empowerment. Having a house gives you empowerment. Being able to defend yourself gives you... You have to be empowered to be able to do that. And he sees no reason why a woman should be empowered. And that is a big turn-off for me.
And you know what? It can never happen.
What can never happen?
For a woman, I mean, for a man to want to take over the ocean, this is our generation.
It can't. It's too late, sir.
It's too late.
All right, but for me, I think I agree 100% with you, Ladoche, because I think he actually bashed his father's opinion by saying that, look, that's his opinion. His time has changed.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, I would do the same if I'm to buy a car for my daughter on her wedding day. I'll give her a car that is not registered.
Now, who's arguing about that?
Yes, now, but when we're now saying it like he's kind of like in support of his father, I don't see.
That's not the registered points. Let me tell you what I'm arguing. You buy a car for your daughter on her wedding day. Are you going to ask her?
No, I'm not going
what
to.
What option of name she should put on her thing?
No, it's not even a question that should come up.
Exactly, that's what
I'm going to give her. No, that's why I said you Ladoche.
So you don't agree 100% then, because he said he will ask his daughter the options of what name she wants to put it in, and if she says it's her name, then he'll go ahead and do that. Do you want to bring up the thing again?
Okay, that was the second part when he said, okay, she asked me to register, I'll ask her what name. And
why
now
are you asking what name?
It could be for put it in my company name. It doesn't really have to be the husband.
Don't change the conversation.
No, I'm just saying. I try to see the bigger picture.
Don't speak for people who have not asked you to. The conversation was about his dad.
They never asked me to talk about them in that, but I talk about them.
His dad said he would put it that anyone who buys for his daughter and puts it in her name is trying to destroy the marriage or whatever. So put it in the husband's name. So he's not replying and saying that, oh, I don't agree to that. All I would do, the only difference is that, not that I wouldn't put it in the man's name, is I'll ask first.
Well, that's Chief's opinion.
Should clear out and go and ask
opinion.
Yeah, his
again,
opinion.
I feel, Chief is actually being careful too as a man. Putting the name of the man in whatever, and maybe he sees it that anything can happen alongside.
Like what? What's your biggest fear for women owning cars? I'd like to know.
Maybe at the end of the day, the woman
I can't hear you,
the woman can decide to say maybe she's no longer interested in the marriage.
Oh, and that's a problem if she has a car. Because she will use the car to drive out of your house, so you're
worried. So the man can just okay, even if she says she wants to go, everything still belongs to me.
Oh,
okay, so what's your take on men? Now, there was a video where I went viral, during the Valentine period, of a guy who actually went to a restaurant, saw his girlfriend sitting with another man, took his bone straight hair, took her shoes and all of that. What's your opinion about men who do such things?
First of all, that was childish. To me, I won't do that. Though, it just shows the kind of person that guy is. Because if he really, really loves her, from his depth of his heart, or really loves his woman, okay. I mean, to me, it's even irritating.
Yeah.
That shows that.
So don't you think that when the good gets going and you give the woman anything or she has anything under your name, you shouldn't be worried about when she's leaving and she has to go with those things?
I'm sorry, what?
When the good gets going, right, and a woman gets whatever it is from you. Do you think when it becomes bad, you're entitled to those things back?
No.
Because that's
what kind of giving are you giving?
What kind of giving? It's not.
Are you giving or is it in a contract? Which one?
No, you guys are not getting it now. Now, I'm asking this question from the point of, when it gets bad and she wants to leave and she has to go with the car. And I'm asking that, but in that car, you gave her in good faith because everything was going smoothly. Do you understand? So when it's not going smoothly and she needs to walk away, why should we be worried about what she walks with? He's still not getting
he doesn't have a problem.
I don't have a problem with that.
I think he was just trying to explain the idea.
Yeah,
I don't think. Are you supporting?
I'm not supporting it. Why would you collect it back? What is?
So why shouldn't we leave it in the woman's name? That's my own question. Are you guys not getting it? That whatever gift you are giving to your daughter on her wedding day, the thought of whatever happens between her and her husband years down the line, or even months or weeks down the line, is actually none of my business. I'm actually giving it to my daughter in her name.
Again, this is the reason why I cannot say, oh, we don't need feminism in this country. Because there's work to be done. There is a lot of work to be done. If there are men still roaming around that think like this, it is very alarming for the state, for the protection of women and their futures. If there are women who have also accepted this as their faith, because there's a lot of women that don't know any different, right? They don't have any spirit of empowerment, so they've agreed that, you know, I'm only what the man tells me I am.
No, it
there's
can't
a lot
work.
of work. There's a lot of work that needs to be done.
This our time, it can't work. But do you know, sorry, do you know that also women do that too? They buy you things and all that, and when you say you're no longer interested, some of them ask for what they get.
So those are two different conversations, right? The idea of gifting someone, your lover, I don't think that's a gender conversation. I think it's a personality thing. If you're petty, you might want your gifts back. If you're not, nobody cares, and we end, you move on with all the stuff that you've benefited from me, and I do the same. But now we're talking about the conversation of even allowing ownership for women, because that's what he's talking about. And you see, that's much deeper than feelings and all of that. That's like entering economics now, right? Because that's the only way you elevate yourself from poverty.
Alrighty.
So, yeah, different conversation.
Alrighty, so we need to move on to the next story. Like I told you guys, yes, we will be having a brand new segment on the show. So the next story is an American singer, Demi Lovato, who has revealed that she was sexually assaulted by a drug dealer on the night she overdosed. It will be recalled that 3 years ago, of course, Demi Lovato, overdosed on drugs, and the whole world was worried about her and all of that. And in the docu-series on YouTube, she told us about the drug dealer who delivered her a dangerous cocktail. So Dancing with the Devil is the name of the series. And yes, who delivered her a dangerous cocktail of heroin and other drugs on the night she overdosed 3 years ago. When she woke up in the hospital after the incident, the doctor asked her if she had consensual sex. She said, I remembered him lying on top of me, so I said yes. It wasn't until maybe a month after my overdose that I realized, hey, you weren't in any state of mind to make a consensual decision. That kind of trauma doesn't go away overnight.
Yeah.
What's your take on this one?
That definitely happens. And which is why the conversation around consent needs to be had a lot more. It's not as simple as she said yes, he said no. And some people, I'm trying to play devil's advocate here. Some people don't genuinely understand that fully well, right? So some people would say, I heard yes, and so it's okay. And I'm not saying that that's an evil thing, but it's wrong. And I think with time, we need to educate people more. That it's not as simple as saying yes. You have to make sure that this person is of the sound mind. The person is, for example, the person is an adult. A young child can say yes, but you can't sleep with a young child because she doesn't have the audacity or the she's not capable of giving a full yes because she's underage. Yeah. So there has to be a lot more conversations around consent and how deep it is. And I think this particular one is very common where you see in Nigeria. I remember Christmas, I kept tweeting and saying, please guys, let's have more conversations around consent this December period, because there's going to be house parties. And that's why you find a lot of rape cases coming out of in Nigeria, especially on Twitter space, is that, she can say yes, but is she intoxicated? Is she drunk? If she is, I don't think you should be having sex with somebody who isn't in their sound mind.
Their right senses.
Yes, because you can say a lot of things. If you ask me when I'm drunk if I want to jump naked around on Third Mainland Bridge, I probably would say yes, but that doesn't mean that I'm saying that with like my full consciousness. So the same applies to what's it called? Drugs as well. Yeah. So with this guy now, I don't know, because he sells drugs, I have a bias already to him. I'm sorry. So
Maybe even sold the wrong drugs. So
exactly. So I know that I'm leaning towards the idea that he knew this woman was intoxicated and deliberately did what he did. Yes, absolutely. Okay. Because there are some men that don't know that you're drunk. There are some men that don't know that you're intoxicated. I've seen that before.
Drunk all the time for them not to know you're
No, like I have a friend where I don't know what drug she was on, it was in Australia, and she went to a house party. Now she was a bit like, ooh, like jumpy, but nothing too, like it wasn't like she was throwing up or anything like that. And we were trying to figure out the whole time if she had sex with the person that she was hanging around with, right? So that kind of person now, the man doesn't know that she wasn't of sound mind. Or maybe sometimes you yourself, you are too much out of your own mind that you don't know. Like, it's very complicated, but it's definitely rape. I've seen people argue on Twitter about this conversation, whether or not if she was raped. That's not rape now. It actually is. It is rape. If I didn't give you my consent willingly, then even if you force me, if I'm sober and you force me and I'm like, no, let's do it, and I say, like, you know, you're not really giving me a choice. It's still not consensual sex as well. So the conversation gets deep.
Okay. To me, what I feel, first of all, it's a sad one for her. But secondly, this drug dealer or drug thing, is it really a must? One must have a drug dealer. It's really a must, because I believe one thing about this stage is that we know that, for example, look at Michael Jackson, for example. At the end of the day, what we heard or what we learned was that it was the doctor or whoever was probably treating him or was probably the one that gave him the overdose thing. So, but I believe when we have a doctor and you have your own doctor, why will you need a drug dealer again?
I don't get that.
Like somebody who is probably giving you your medication to use, because I guess that's the person.
Oh, wait, what type of drugs do you think we're talking about here? Paracetamol?
No. No.
Okay, so Demi Lovato, her documentary is actually about her life. They
even mentioned it, heroin.
She's a
Your
child
doctor would
star.
not give you heroin.
She's a child star and she's had a very hard time growing up. Like, in front of us, she's had like a lot of overdoses where we've almost lost her and stuff. So this documentary is supposed to give an insight on her struggles and like a very raw, honest truth about her life. So she's actually she was a drug addict. So somebody that had serious drug issues. And I'm not talking painkillers for a headache. I mean, like, you know, intoxicating drug issues. Yeah, so this is in her encounter with drugs and her drug dealers, all these bad stuff. She was then raped, yeah.
All right, so what's your take on drug addicts as well? You know, let's talk about that. How do you feel about drug addicts?
Well, it's not a good thing. As far as I'm concerned, it's not a good thing. But it's not, as I said, it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing, but I feel it can be reduced.
Okay, how do you think that can be done?
Through your therapist, right?
Okay. So, I mean, like, when I'm asking you about your take on drug dealers, what's your take on them? Do you think they are the problems?
What do you mean?
Yes,
they are the problem.
The drug dealers themselves. Yes, they are the problem.
No, not the drug dealers, the drug addicts.
Oh, well, as I said, it's to me, I don't really have much to say on that. But
But you know that addiction is a disease. And we should empathize and sympathize with every addict because it's beyond their control. Do you know that?
Yes, I know that. I know it's a disease. I know.
Yes.
But what's okay?
Well,
go ahead.
You want to say something?
Yes, I want to say something. You say it's a disease, yes, but is it that are they born with it? Do you think they are born with it?
They're not born. Were you born with cancer? Were people born with cancer? They got cancer. And we empathize and sympathize with every cancer patient. So why are we not going to sympathize and empathize with every drug addict if it is categorized as a disease? But we need to move on real quick, and we're going on a music break, and this is our throwback music from way back. This is still Tea Time on Plus TV Africa. Yes, of course, stay with us.
Gucci, boy, yeah, bro. Doro fresh, Guano, Doro big, Guano, Doro flashy, Doro classy, Doro fine pass anybody way, Doro see, Doro get pass anybody way, Doro meet.
Doro nativa, Doro natiwa, Doro na leader, follow the leader. Doro, 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 Doro is bigger, Doro is higher, follow the ladder, so follow the ladder. Doro can leave her, she know the tire. Doro hot, Doro minado, Doro fine, Doro Gucci, yeah. Doro me, Doro you, Doro baby with the baddest crew.
Doro suru, Doro lere, Doro grab, Doro carry, Doro fast past anybody way don't they pass before. Doro sweet past anybody way, Doro jam man, Doro hammer, Doro bako, Doro knock past carpenter way don't they knock before. Doro nado, Doro Messi, Doro dribble anybody way try to mark.
Doro, African prince, Doro. See Doro they make you the girls they feel you. Doro, Doro, Doro catchy anybody way. Doro fish, Doro, Doro choppy anybody way. Doro beef, Doro, Doro mega, Doro super, Doro star, Doro mega superstar. Doro catchy anybody way. Doro fish, Doro, Doro choppy anybody way. Doro beef, Doro. Doro bad, Doro 007, Doro Nayaro, Doro they get the money, Doro like for do anything way, Doro like for do. Ain't nobody try Doro, Doro bougie, Doro bad, Doro 007, Doro Nayaro, Doro they get the money, Doro like for do anything way, Doro like for do. Doro ain't nobody try Doro,
Doro is a careful keeper. Doro is a kind of boss, a kind of boss. Doro is a money spender. Doro today floss, today floss. Anywhere we Doro day, you know say wahala day, colors day, 'cause Doro gallant day. Anywhere we Doro day, wahala day, colors day, Doro gallant day. Doro money, Doro bola, Doro popping, Doro naughty, Doro fly past anybody way they play, Doro ball past anybody way they beat. Doro Gucci, Doro Gucci, Doro fly past anybody way Doro see, Doro get past anybody way.
Hey, Doro Bucci. Yes, that's a proper throwback. Yes, you're still welcome back to Tea Time on Plus TV Africa. You know, yeah, we've been, having some bars here and there. Yes, talking about drugs, talking about all the things, and talking about Chief, of course, who, had his opinion. And yes, we had, we've been able to educate each one of us on this table. I think we've been able to impact on each other, intellectually. Or am I wrong?
Absolutely.
Alrighty. So we're moving on to the final story before we go into a brand new segment, which is, hot topic on Tea Time, of course. Yeah, so Kanye West's current net worth is approximately $6.6 billion, which largely came from his Yeezy fashion brand. The rapper's sneaker and apparel business, now bolstered by Adidas and Gap Inc., is valued between $3.2 billion and $4.7 billion by UBS Group AG. According to a media outlet, the father of four has an additional $1.7 billion in assets, $122 million in cash and stock, and $110 million from his music career. He has now been reported to be the richest black man in American history. Woo! Give it up for Kanye, man. Like, give it up for see, this is, I don't want to say this. I'll probably say this behind the scene. But they say this guy has a problem. I want his problems. Don't you understand? I probably can't say what problem is. I want his problem.
So that problem is what is
Thank you.
That's what brought him to where he is today.
Can we now have, because why don't you want this problem?
I don't want problem like that. When I saw this, I thought about Kanye when I was much younger. Like when Kanye was not this Kanye, like from like Jesus Walks Kanye, like. And I'm just thinking, would he have known
He would be the
that he would have been the richest man in the history
of America?
Of America. Are you kidding? Like
that's a lot.
At first, I thought he was the richest black artist in America. But
No.
the richest man.
Man.
Number one.
Yes.
Fam.
Like Oprah.
But can I
Like
say though?
Oprah.
Can I say? And I have to say this. And I know you might. I don't know how you respond to this. But do you know that Kim Kardashian has a whole lot to do with that?
I
disagree.
I
disagree.
If to say a man with
I
sex get a
disagree.
lot to do with woman's success, you, if you will not agree.
I disagree.
You will not agree.
Please.
Why you
I
bringing
disagree.
Kim Kardashian? Why can't we just be happy for this
In
man?
fact,
Why are we talking about Kim Kardashian
I
now?
don't hate how. I don't hate
I don't get
Kardashian.
it.
I don't
Like,
hate
why
her.
did you have to bring that? Wait, leave this table. Stand up and walk
Can I
away.
explain why?
Okay.
They had a when they first got married. There was this thing where they did like a joint fusing, whatever. That's what made him even the richest man above Jay-Z. That time, you know, both of them were struggling for a while. She brought all her assets that she had, which is also a very strong millionaire as well. And when they conjoined their assets together, they both became really powerful. And that's how they were able to get to number one. So for me,
So he's
Let me tell you-
on an
let me
offshore.
tell you-
Sorry, on an offshore. So Kanye is using her grace. Is that what you say?
no.
Wait, no,
relax.
that's not what it is. But let me
What
just.
I said Kim Kardashian is a big contributor to this aspect in terms of their collaboration. That's all I've said.
So now let me tell you what you would have said and how you would have said it if I had said the same thing if it was Kim Kardashian that was declared the way and I said Kanye. You're like, no, so what do you mean?
But you know
so,
that that's actually like I know you're gonna say that because
so
let me
what do
tell
you
you.
mean?
Let me
So are you saying because a woman is smart enough to bring her assets together with a man and she's not the richest woman, so we think that is a problem? We don't want this woman to
I
be
actually
woke.
knew-
We don't want this woman to be smart. We don't want this woman to be empowered. So because she was smart enough, other women should be smart enough
I
to do
actually
that.
knew
You know, that's
I knew,
exactly
no, I
what
knew,
you would have
I
said.
knew you were exactly going to. I knew you were going to say that, and I researched the thing for you. So if you want to go and quote me wrong, I was ready for you.
It's not about.
I
I'm saying,
remember
why
when.
are
Let
you
me
bringing
finish.
that
Let
up
me finish.
now?
Let me finish. When we talked about Kim Kardashian, because she was on a list, and what's it called, Kylie as well. I said you guys said the same thing. I was going on and on and on about how.
She's not self-made.
No, yes, exactly. I was going on about how those girls were not self, especially Kylie Kardashian,
30 seconds to wrap up the
Kylie
story.
Jenner rather.
Yeah.
And I was saying how like Kylie's not self-made, And I remember you brought up, no, maybe it was Elsie that brought it up. Elsie brought it up, and I said, well, I cannot argue with that. So I actually did not do what you're saying. I agreed that there was a contributing factor to that. Do you think that you can be the richest man without having any help or support? Are you people using your head on the table?
Okay, to say something. Just
It's
quickly,
okay,
actually,
oh.
Kanye West has actually been a unique person right from time. The guy is
Nobody's
good.
taking it away. All I said was that there's a contributing factor to that.
You can't
If you
walk
don't
the guy.
think, if you don't even
The guy is unique.
It's not just Kim Kardashian as well. There are other people that made a huge part of his success.
Gap, Adidas.
He's exactly Adidas is a huge one. They backed up this guy's product, used
They
their
gave him
platform,
loans.
gave him serious
Yeah.
loans. So don't act like as if no, I've said too much. Well, that's it.
That one day, but Kim Kardashian would
No, that Kim Kardashian.
Anyway, Tea Time continues right after this break. And yes, our topic on Tea Time will be here, brand new. Go nowhere, stay.
There has to be a decision point. The way your baby's presenting, we have to rush you in. And my partner at the time was like, "You going to cut her? Are you going to cut her? Is it going to leave a scar?" And I said, "Am I a belly dancer? What is the problem here?"
No, I'm vulnerable about the future of the children, the future of mine and the future of the generation of my children.
I want to have nude pictures taken. Of you? Yes,
Yeah,
but
we
without
had that
showing my
conversation.
private parts.
I-
I want to
yeah,
put it
someone-
in my front room. And they said, you can't do that. People will be embarrassed when they came into your house. I said, well, it's my body and it's my front room.
All the things that we do, what is the purpose of it?
I just realized that I was more trusting
before I was 6. So many women, they just feel like I have to cook for my husband, I have to breastfeed my children, I have to pick them from school.
Because society expects
Then you
them
go
to.
home and you cry and you stop your career, you can't do anything, then you blame everybody. You took that choice.
We can't talk about education reform if we don't decolonize our education system.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize. Because it's just cultural. And I think it's just human nature.
They stop paying us salary. I don't like remembering it.
I am angry at Nigeria. I'm angry at this government which seems to be letting us down. I'm angry at us as a people.
In the process of struggling to free myself from his hand, he tore my pants and he raped me.
Yes, I commit offense truly.
Young girl, do you know where you are going? I say, I'm going to America. I say, now so that they talk, you are going to Libya, which America?
Accident to mark our place. Some people they die now.
This is Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the barbing, I pay my rent. On the barbing, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and the heat of the moment, and another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
I will do everything to take Lagos out of the national grid.
What is a democracy? It's a government of all of us for all of us. So when we try to paint that picture, like you mentioned in your advocacy, they call you a hater.
The police remains brutal. They continue to do the same thing they were doing before that time. So can we just get more participatory in the process, including this generation?
Where is the hope? What's going to change? How is it going to change?
The lesson is that we need each other. And so this idea of we are better off than these other people, we should drop it.
Unfortunately, we live in a country of compromise that clearly, actually militantly, says we don't want the best. Just give us the one that is okay. We have seen that the street did not deliver much dividend. It didn't. As a matter of fact, the people in power cowered them into submission. Let's get more involved.
Yes, y'all, this is still Tea Time on Plus TV Africa, and of course, we're still having, the amazing time, as we always do. But now introducing a half-hour Hot Topic on Tea Time, and of course, we came with friends, yay! I got a friend.
You keep thinking you know how to sing, but you don't.
I don't need to know how to sing, but you know the song, so you can just sing along and not hate on a brother.
I don't know, it's in my blood, sorry.
To hate on me?
Yes.
Well, thank God you said that on live television.
Of course, is that something I've said before?
I can sing.
I
have music
so
video.
You cannot work with
No.
See, we should go increase my views. I have a music video. I've missed the fire. Yes, increase my view. I'm sure Maka can relate. And of course, we came with friends, like I said. My friend is a soul singer of international repute and a real one. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, meet my friend, Maka. How you doing, Maka?
Hello, everybody.
Yeah. And our other friend, of course, from the On My Corner, is a corporate executive who made our time to, be with us out of a busy schedule of dealing with money. And yes, it is the beautiful Nancy.
Hey. Hi, Nancy.
Yeah, and
Hello,
of course we
Nancy.
got Wale
Thank you.
with us. Yeah, so for those of you wondering, is he a guest? Yes, it's just a guest anchor with us today. And yes, probably you see more of Wale. Yes, so let's get straight to it. The topic for the day is, do you think challenges improves a person's character? If possible, let's discuss this with personal experiences. So we're going to be starting with Nancy. Nancy, tell us, do you think so?
Hi, Nancy.
Hi, Nancy. Nancy. Nancy looks frozen. Maka, are you with us?
Yeah.
All right, so Maka, let's start
I'm
with you.
with
I
you.
think Nancy is
I'm
frozen.
having
Too much
network,
money.
yeah.
You know, they've
Okay,
frozen
so,
our accounts.
I'm telling you.
I'm obviously of the opinion that your challenges help make who you are. So they can make you or they can destroy you. Either way, they contribute to who you become. And I've had experiences. Being a musician, number one, definitely comes with its own, with all these issues and all the roadblocks anybody can imagine. So that automatically has contributed to who I am today. It's not easy to say, oh, I'm going to leave my steady income and paying job as a lawyer and follow my passion.
True that. True that.
Become a starving artist. It's not easy at all. But I had different options. I could have quit. You get when it felt like oh, it seems like my dreams are never going to become a reality. I could have said, you know what, I'm not doing this thing anymore. But I decided to persevere, and I'm still persevering. It has made me a strong person. Like there's rarely anything now that will come my way that I won't be able to handle because of all the things I've learned on this journey. You feel me?
Yes, true that, true that. And I totally agree.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the space that you've been able to fill. It's not very common to see people obviously leave a very secure, like the 9 to 5, everybody knows 9 to 5, even myself, I know 9 to 5 is not a great option, but one of the best advantages of a 9 to 5 is that
You're
security.
yeah.
So for me to meet people like that deliberately walk out of a secure space
payment
into a non-secure space is very inspiring, especially now when you're not going into the entertainment industry and you being a singer. I've been obviously privileged to interview you, so I know that you're an amazing person, but I want to know if there's any story in particular that, like, on top of your mind you experienced, as in give us a backstory, like the guy, you can call him Mr. A or whatever, but I want to know like a particular story that has really, you know, it's made a mark. Yeah.
There are too many to just
which one is your favorite?
If I had known that I was gonna If I had known that I was going to share,
we can give you time to think about it so that we move to Nancy so she can tell us. We can give you time to think about it so that we move to Nancy and she can share our own thoughts. Then you come back with a story, right? All right, so Nancy, what do you think? Do you think challenges help, you know, shape the person you become?
Definitely. So for two instances, I think when it comes to finances and relationships, there are situations, if you don't struggle, if you don't have challenges in making money, you would never appreciate the value of money.
Thank you.
You never appreciate spending and savings. If you don't have challenges in building your relationships with people, because you need people in life, as hard as people like to take that fact out. If God wants to bless you, manna won't fall from heaven. He would bring someone to you to help you. So if you have challenges building your relationships, in the next relationship, your character would be corrected and you would act better
100.
in your next relationship.
Right.
Yes. So I've had personal experiences with money too and finances. I mean, I used to be, I don't want to say Miss Independent, because I used to believe, whenever I have an issue, I just focus on finding a solution and working it out immediately. But then I've been around people where they have issues and I've had to sympathize with them. So the old Nancy would be like, get your ass up and get this done, get moving. But now, knowing that not everybody's like me, so I have to sympathize with their situation. I have to maybe give them words of advice and words of wisdom. They might not be the type to act immediately, but the new Nancy now will try to give advice and try to stay with the person and be like, you know what, things are going to get better. It's okay to cry. It's okay to feel sad, but don't stay at this point.
True.
Get up and re-strategize and move forward.
True that.
So yeah, the old Nancy, So the old Nancy might be a bit tough love.
So do you
But then,
Nancy, do you find it easier now for yourself to even ask for help? Because I mean, I know that I know what it is like to be like Miss Independent and not, if anything, it starts to even, not that you don't want to ask for help, but you don't want to feel like a burden, or that you're just capable and able of doing it by yourself. So you do the hard route and make it out yourself. But now, obviously, it seems like you've experienced enough to have your mind change. So is it easier for you now to like? Oh my gosh!
Right here.
Did
Can
you even?
hear us?
Yeah. Were you there?
Hello.
Where did you stop?
She frozen again.
Yes, I can hear you. It's just a little break in network. But yes, I got your question.
Right.
In the past, I used to have a big problem with the answer no. So I hate when I ask and people tell. Sometimes I don't even want to ask because I'm scared of people telling me no. But the truth is, if you ask, you might just get a yes.
Yeah.
Yes, in most cases, you would just get a yes. So the way I see it is better you ask than not. So yes, I put myself in a situation, even at work, when I don't understand some things, or even with family and friends, it's always a best decision to ask because you might just get what you're asking for.
Absolutely.
So yes, I've been able to ask more than not.
Alrighty.
So I think I'm next,
Yes.
right?
Or if this.
Unless there's something, Maka, yes, are you going to share your story with us?
I agree with everything that Nancy said.
Do you have a story to share with us now?
She made a lot of valid points, and I know that.
Thank you.
Thank you. When we had this conversation, you were looking for some controversial vibes. Like you wanted this to be very, very, very controversial, and you get. But this topic, to me, it is straightforward.
Yeah.
It is very straightforward.
But guess what?
Challenges build up character. Not for everybody, but some people will choose to give up. It's left to you to decide how you want it to affect you. But challenges definitely build up character. In my line of work, I've met so many people. I've worked with so many people. I've been privileged to run my own band, and I'm the only female there. And most of the time I'm the youngest. I'm the youngest in the room.
Right.
But I have to manage these guys. It's not easy, but it has.
Do you guys think that there are some? I mean, I think we're all on the same consensus. We're all nodding our heads.
Empathy.
But there's a but.
Yeah.
Do you think that there are challenges that you face that just break you? Like there's nothing to. You can't grow, or you know,
get out of
you
it.
can't. Yeah, there's just some things that
Like
people
this
would
one is
face,
just,
and then that's it. You're broken, done.
In the
dusted.
moment, it will seem like that. Every time in the moment, in that real time, it will seem like that. But there is nothing on earth that should have that much power, because everything will pass. To be honest, in that time, you will feel this.
Like you.
I can't go on.
Yeah.
But when you move on and you reflect on it, to be like, I actually came out stronger.
Yeah, I agree.
So
it's
for
just
me,
like sometimes when you have to work out, and after like the first few days of working out, you feel like, you know what, I'm not doing this. My body can't take it.
pain.
But when you push through, you have that summer body in the end, and you're so grateful that, oh wow, I'm glad I continued. You get, so yes.
Yeah.
All right, but
When I had my first heartbreak, hi Chimo, I felt like I was done. I felt like I was done. But see me now, I'm balling. Shout out to my ex.
Hey, shout out to the ex, yo. All right, but on the real though, I've seen, kids that they have no challenge. Personally, I went to a private university, Babcock. I saw guys that went from private primary school to private secondary school to private universities, to their first cars being given to them, to their first millions of naira being wired into their account to start whatever business of their choice.
Absolutely.
To their first, so even the father still investing and buying shares in the company and doing adverts in the company, and they've had life so easy. And if you see these guys, they're still the ones that you see, and they'll be your motivational speakers, and you listen. Do you understand? Now, I think that, when you're talking about character, it is something that is inbuilt. Like they say, a leopard never changes a spot. So regardless of the circumstance, I feel like some people still fall back into their old person, regardless of what they have experienced in life. I have seen it not once, not
so you're
twice.
saying that a challenge does not always
Be what makes your character. Sometimes the type of environment you have grown up in, the type of people you mingle with actually shapes your character. Now, that is not a challenge. Do you understand? The fact that I have rich parents that help me with everything is that I want that type of challenge.
Being rich is not easy. My
parents, see, the parents are the rich. Now you're not getting it.
We're talking about Kanye West. He said you want Kanye West problems. Be careful what you wish for,
my guy. Please, can I be the richest black man in Nigeria with problems?
Be careful what you wish for.
I want that problem.
That comes with his own problem.
Absolutely.
Alrighty. All right, that one did.
More money, more problems, innit? That's what they say. More money, more problems.
I like the fact that we're even bringing lyrics into this because this just took me back to some 50 Cent line that said, "Joy wouldn't feel so good if it wasn't for pain." Yes.
If it wasn't for pain,
the sun wouldn't feel so good if it wasn't for rain. Do you understand? So there are things that you actually have to go to be able to appreciate other things. I totally agree, but I don't also agree that it is everybody that has to go through a painful challenge to be molded.
I said that before now, that you choose the way you want it to affect you.
Yeah.
It's in your hands to move something or to just die there.
Alrighty.
And some things are not just necessarily materialistic.
Absolutely.
Everybody could, some people could have all the money in the world, but they have some personal demons they're fighting.
Exactly.
I don't,
if you you do a private jet every weekend, do you sleep well at night?
Yeah.
That's the question.
Yeah.
You get so people have personal battles they're fighting. And that's still a challenge.
I don't think
so
there's
you're able to
anyone,
push through, then kudos to you.
Yeah, I don't think anyone is free of challenges. I don't think so.
Yeah,
even with all the money in the world, I think challenges just
even
look different for different
babies
people.
have their challenges, and babies are supposed to be the most
even the fact that teeth grows out of your mouth is a challenge because it hurts. So I don't think money can secure you from not experiencing or being exposed to challenges. I just think some challenges are a bit
more
different.
Extreme than the other.
More extreme than the other. And depending on the character is how that challenge will then impact your life. Like some people have been through big things and they just walked right through it, really myopic and flat, and nothing fantastic happened to them. Yeah. And then some people experience one thing, one little thing, and then they build their whole persona and create a whole empire based on what they've experienced from that one thing. So
alrighty.
Really
but we haven't gotten Adewale's experience.
First of all, challenges is a must. If you don't go through challenges in life, you will not be where you are today.
True.
Even our fathers that are today, that are probably our fathers, the rich ones, yes, I'm sure they will have gone through one challenge or the other. Because if they are rich. And we the children are the ones probably enjoying it right now. But there's no how, even we as the children, we must go through one challenge or the other. And that is actually what makes that is exactly what makes schools and you're exactly what makes us what we are today.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For example, I was discussing with my brother here I was like, even waking up early in the morning is a challenge. Yeah.
Big challenge.
Yes.
Big ass challenge.
Big
Very challenge. So if you understand what I'm trying to say.
Sleep gang in the building. We love sleep.
So it's just all about you just training yourself and keep pushing, as you said, you know. So
there's too many factors in life that you can't control. So if you can't control every factor about life, then you're always going to find a challenge, right? Because even if you say you have all the money to like get all the robots to give you everything that you need on time, you don't know how your body is going to respond to a cold weather, for example, or that you are inbuilt allergic to dust, or that you can't see well. Like there's going to be something that is just off.
Wait, I don't mean to go spiritual now or religious.
Do you know that I actually have some verses in the Bible. So that
thank you, my guy. See, we're thinking alike. That's why I brought my friend, my co-pastor, assistant pastor in the beauty.
That challenges improve your character.
Absolutely.
I'm looking at my Bible now. So this is James James chapter 1, verse 2 to 4. Count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet trials of various kinds, for you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness, and let steadfastness have its full effect, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing.
Okay, but can I ask something though? I mean, we're all agreeing sort of to the consensus that challenge is good for you and that it builds, and I think that's just a testimony of our characters. But now, do you think though that there are some challenges that are unfair?
Yes.
Where you hear someone's story and you just think, wow, that is very unfair, and the person doesn't make it through, and the person, I don't want to say gives up, but the challenge wins over that person's battle. Do you think that there's ever a case or ever a challenge that you could go through that beats you and it's not your fault, really?
Do you know,
that's the question.
If that person came to speak to me, the fact that the person is alive means the person is surviving. Because people have taken their lives because they couldn't take it anymore.
That's true.
So the fact that that person is still there to even tell me, oh, okay, this is what I'm going through, that person is brave enough, and I'll let that person know that you're already winning. The fact that you're still here, this is just real time. You're going to get through this and look back and tell this story, and it will end in a different way.
Right.
I don't
know. I mean, definitely, life is unfair, first of all. And some people are put in situations, some people are born into these situations, in fact. So let's say a young girl is in a ghetto area and she gets raped and she has to have the baby. That happens to her.
Already,
it's not fair, but
things,
definitely there's a light at the end of the tunnel. It's always better to push through than keep yourself in that dark place. So definitely some situations are not fair, but what can you do?
Yeah.
It's
Can I ask
life,
a question?
really.
Sure, Maka.
Okay. So the topic says, do you think that challenges improve a person's character? Okay, so now character, when we hear, oh, this person has character, our mind always goes to it's positive, yeah? But can we assume improve a person's character can also mean a bad character? Like now, if you're in a gang, they're gonna tase you. They're gonna haze you, train you to improve your character. You get
from that to that guy
to be able to go through the gang related things. Like if you're in prison now, to survive there, you have to go through all the prison challenges to build that strong character to survive in prison. I'm just throwing in a little curveball.
That one controversial. That one really did.
Yeah.
So character, it differs. So I don't know. So do we want to share about when an experience has actually trained each and every one of us to be, stronger?
Okay, so I think for mine, because I can admit that I've been a bit sheltered, like my upbringing and all of that. But relationships, like Nancy mentioned in the very beginning, mentioned how like that's a huge factor. And I think there was a relationship that I experienced, and I didn't know until that relationship that I had a codependent character where I would really infuse my life into that person, and I can't really do much, or I didn't know consciously, but the limitations, I was limiting myself based on that relationship. So if the man is not okay with it, I wouldn't do it. And some way I told myself that I can't really do it if my man and I are not doing it together, that kind of life. And I think I've always done that until that relationship. And he was the first person to disappoint me, if anything, exploits me on a large scale. So that experience for me showed that I have to become really comfortable with myself as an individual. I mean, sometimes you don't always think that, but yeah, that has made me even a lot more confident. So I think that's a challenge.
Alrighty,
I'll
guys.
say, yeah.
I really wish I could take everyone's experience of what made you stronger or what made you the better guy, but we sadly have to go. So yes, I'm sorry. But
it was fun.
It was so much fun. We're gonna do this again.
Yes,
we are going to bring our friends once again, and yes. Yes, of course.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. So
Absolutely.
thank you everyone for watching. Join the conversation on social media with the hashtag Tea Time or tweet at us at Plus TV Africa. Remember, you can catch up on our previous episodes, including this one, and all our exclusive content by subscribing to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa. You can also watch Tea Time on Alta TV and in London on Ben Television. A big thank you goes out to my guests, Maka and Nancy, and of course, my co-anchors, Ife Omai and Adewale, and the entire production team, of course. Thank you for watching Plus TV Africa's Tea Time. My name is Ife Oshunkeye.
Hello and welcome to Ladies Talking Business on Plus TV Africa. I'm your host, Moremi Akonwo, and with me is my co-host,
Aneta Felix. On today's episode, we'll be looking into the creative and fashion industry in Nigeria. Our guest on the show is a creative consultant as well as the founder and business director of Zinkata, a fashion consultancy and retail store based in Lagos, Nigeria.
She is a strong force in the Nigerian creative and fashion industry with over 10 years experience in the industry as a fashion stylist, consultant, and editor. She was once the fashion editor of Wow Magazine, Genevieve Magazine, a contributing writer for Vogue, just to mention a few. So let's meet our guest, Ezinne Chinkata. Who is Ezinne outside being a fashion stylist and consultant?
Okay. Ezinne is actually a pretty simple lady that is proudly African and from a traditional home. I actually would say Ezinne is a brave young woman because I honestly didn't plan to start off working in fashion. Okay. I'll go to my background. I studied cell biology and genetics.
Oh, wow. That's a fact, right?
Yes. Traditional Igbo home. My dad wanted me to be a doctor, and it seemed like I would do the medicine because I was kind of like good in sciences and arts, even though my mom was more very creative. She once owned a fashion outfit, and her family line, they're artists. So I was really exposed to the creative flair of things.
Okay.
And so it was now me meant to be a doctor, and I actually was going to study medicine, but I got cell biology and genetics in school.
Mm-hmm.
And I studied that. I didn't enjoy it, but I got by. And then I went on to do a master's in environmental management. So fashion was not in the radar. However, I want to believe I always sort of lived in fashion from my mom. And then I always loved the creative arts, exploring myself, exploring my style.
Mm-hmm.
And so while I was doing my MS in environmental management abroad, it was like, you know, being in the UK opened my eyes even further to fashion. And I loved it, but I never thought I would work in it till I came back to Nigeria to serve after working in England in a bank for a while. So my dad obviously assumed that I'll be getting a job because environmental management was getting really big then. And everyone was like, oh, waste management, oh, sustainability.
I mean, that's what's raining now. You
oil
make money
companies,
from it.
everything. So that seemed like I was smack in the right place. But I was in a phase where I just didn't know what I wanted to do. And then at that period, I was very expressive with my style. I had like a mohawk.
Wow.
Yes, I had like a mohawk. I had dark, moody eyes, and I was hanging out. And wherever I went, people would be like, "Are you a stylist? Are you a stylist?"
And they always noticed you.
I would say, well, they noticed my style. It sort of was different from what was around. Without me trying to be different, I was just expressing myself how I was. So they'll be like, "Are you a stylist?" And then I have to confess, I felt like, no, because I felt like I had my master's in environmental management and my cell biology and genetics course. Then we didn't feel like the creative arts was necessarily respected. So I would want to point out to them that I'm educated, I'm not a stylist. But I got that everywhere I went. And then I was also still trying to find myself. And like I was reading really hard. I just knew one thing. I knew that I wanted to be successful in life because I had really competitive friends and some of them had already started working straight from school. But I wasn't sure at what. But I knew that I didn't want to do environmental management. And I knew that fashion came to me like so easily.
Wow.
But I didn't think I wanted to do it. So I was like caught. I had done a series of interviews. I got a job. I was working in my dad's company, but I still wasn't sure. And then I had like an aha moment one day and I was like, Esine, maybe you should try out this styling thing. Maybe you should try out this fashion thing, just try it out. It will be fun. And I then went on and I was lucky, maybe brave, like I said, because my dad wasn't going to hear it. My mom was low-key on my side.
I can imagine. I have to study in that course and you say you want to go into fashion.
Transition.
You can't imagine. But, and then I was very lucky because my first gig was a massive gig. I started off trying to be a stylist.
Okay.
I had never done styling, like editorial styling, which was what I was going to do. So I didn't realize I had actually always been styling all my life. Because then even in uni, I would advise my friends on what to wear. My mom at a stage had a salon and then she also had a boutique. And then there was a time she gave me like her things to sell for her because I wanted to make extra money. And I sold out in a week.
Wow.
Not because I was popular or anything, but because I just sort of always knew, okay, red is for you. Blue is for you. Oh, the peplum is for your figure. So people would actually buy what suited them. So I kind of like had a knack for that without knowing. So that was styling and I had no idea. And then when I'm going on holiday, my friends will write a list and give me money. And I would always know where to get things, bargain, good quality,
so you've always
what
had
fits
it
their
in you.
style. They'll be like, how do you know this is me? I'm like, I know. How do you know this suits me? Anyway, so.
You are giving people customized service.
Yep, without knowing
And
that.
you never knew you had. Really.
Yes, and without knowing that people got paid for that. So it was just like something I thought I could do. So now styling, back to getting a job. So so they were like, oh, isn't it styling? And then I was like, okay, cool. I made a few calls. I got excited about it. And then I got an interview with Next on Sunday. At first, I was meant to intern with someone that was already the stylist for the company. And while I was trying to intern with her, I found out that we're actually looking for a stylist. And then I said, why intern?
When I can
style.
be a stylist. Great.
So they called me up and I went for the interview. I Googled what a stylist was. And then I became excited and I got lucky. The first job I did, the first shoot I styled was with established hands like Kelechi Amadiobi, the photographer.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. To me, that was my big break. And I had Banke Meshida Lawal that I already knew from school. She did the makeup. And I had a fantastic model. It was a sports-themed editorial, which is actually really challenging. But I was so passionate and I was so brave, I would say again. I never thought I would fail. I just was like, I must go for this and I must do it. And then I think it was also because I knew my dad thought I was crazy about that and I was so close to him. So I really wanted to make it work. So it was research, passion. How do I make it unique? How do I make this come out well? And from there,
it just went on. I mean, all of what you said, and I've just picked bravery. You spoke about bravery. You've just been brave, and that really got you.
I'm lucky, to be honest.
Oh, really? So do you think people really go for maybe what's in vogue? Or they go for more their style? Or basically, what influences people's habits in terms of fashion?
Okay, so now I would say that it has changed over the years, but what is consistent is the need and feel for people to buy into African brands. So now more than before, when I started like 10 years ago, people were buying more abroad, but now people hardly shop abroad. They're very excited to buy a Nigerian brand, one. Then there's also a greater interest in indigenous fabric. Yes, yes, so they're like the Ankara now and the Adire. To be honest with you, before, black tie was just a black dress maybe, or, you know, contemporary fashion, and a man in a suit. But now, it's almost like black tie can also be an agbada.
Yeah, traditional.
Yes,
I see that happen a
so
lot,
that's
yeah.
now also black tie. Proudly so, most times now. And then also consumer habits as well, the internet, social media. Oh my goodness, Nigerians consume a lot of that. And then the influencers also influence their habits, their buying habits. And then what I would also now say lastly that I've really noticed running in store is that the buyers can be cliquey.
How do you mean?
Cliquey, yes. So you have to, a certain clique of people would gravitate towards a certain brand.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what I mean? And then even like maybe the influencer that wears it, different influencers affect or attract different audiences. And then now consumers also have different expressions. So it's diverse and very rich. So a certain brand would attract a certain clique. And then if you can get into that market and target it and harness it, you'll be fine.
Okay.
So for Zinkata, I would say my market is more for people that like authentic fashion, people that don't like generic looking clothes, people that like
unique clothes.
Yeah, unique, but not like, it can also be classic, but it has to have been thought out, a clear thought, and they also love Nigerian brands, and then they like it well made, artisanal. They like the sustainable story, so they like a bit of a deeper.
Okay, you tell me more about Zinkata after the break, okay? Okay. All right, so we will go on a short break now, and we'll be back with more fashion talk with our guests right after the break.
The organizers of the Most Valuable Governor's Wives Awards proudly announces the awards ceremony, Sheraton Hotel Abuja, March 23rd, 2021, 6 p.m.
You're welcome back, and it's Ladies Talking Business with Moremi, and we've been discussing, you know, the fashion world with a fashion consultant by the name Ezinne Chinkata, who owns Zinkata brand. And thanks again for being here, Ezinne.
Thank you,
You started off with a background, you know, in the sciences, and you decided to eventually give fashion a chance. And over the past 10 years now, you've built a robust profile, you know, rich profile in fashion. What would you say has been, you know, some of your experiences, you know, in the fashion world?
It's been very exciting. It's been hard work. That's the thing. Most people think fashion is just very glamorous, but it's actually extremely hard work. It's been rewarding. I think one of the best parts of working in fashion is being exposed to different people. The creatives, the consumers, the buyers, women, and staff that I work with. It's been really, really the best part of my life, being able to stick here and try to grow in the fashion industry. It's been very exciting.
So you've just told us about what's exciting and, you know, meeting people, dealing with different people. At the same time, what have your challenges been in running Zinkata and even being a fashion stylist? So what have your challenges been?
At the beginning, the challenge was trying to prove myself because I didn't really intern with anyone. So it was like, you know, like I said, fashion is cliquey. So I had to consistently prove myself, and I had to convince them, like even like styling, if you go to the big names for a shoot, they would ask, what have you done before? Who have you styled before? And it was me having to convince them that I'll return their things in good condition. So it was just trying to prove myself, try to be consistent. And then, you know, like there's no real, when I started, there was no real network. It was hard to even get a mentor because it was quite novel. It was something new. Yeah. So I had to research consistently myself. I had to make sure I was always, you know, positive, wanting to do it, wanting to make it happen. So it was quite tough, but it was the more you put in your best, the more it opens up for you. So it was really brilliant.
And what would you say was your first big break in this new industry at the time?
I would say I had a series of breaks. And to be honest, my very first shoot, I would say, was a big break because I gave it everything. The first shoot I got with the company I got, my first job. From there, 2 months later, immediately I did that shoot, I got 5 shoots down.
Oh, wow.
Yes, like 5 more. I was rolling immediately. And then I was already exposed to celebrities. I was exposed, so I got in immediately. And so the next big break, I think, was I did a shoot for Next on Sunday, and I did it for Omotola, Mother's Day. And it sold out. It was very popular. I think she looked very beautiful. So people started taking notes. And then I'll tell you the next big break was Vogue Italia, writing for them. I also wrote, I would say truly that what really broke it for me was writing for Bella Naija online. Oh. Yes, I had a column called the Zinkata Style Adventures. So that really helped me because people connected with my work, connected with the struggles of being an entrepreneur, connected with what I did on a day-to-day, and it was really amazing. So it was a series of little breaks.
Yeah. Great. So you live fashion, breathe fashion, you are fashion. What does fashion mean to you, like in simple terms?
Okay, so I would say that fashion is your essence, your true essence, because it actually goes beyond what you're wearing. It also covers even how you carry yourself, how you wear your hair. So I feel like fashion is the first thing that you say to someone without saying a word. So it might end up being the only interaction you have with a person. That's what they view. So it's very, very important. So it's important for you to decide who you are and who you want to show you are through what you wear. So it defines you. It's actually your true essence.
And talking about how fashion, and consumer habits being cliquey, and how brands are, exploring, the idea of using influencers to promote their brands. What fashion trends would you say are some of the biggest in Nigeria at the moment?
Okay, for some reason now, Nigerians love prints, but not just prints. They love matching prints, so sets. Like recently there was a craze for cords, so like a matching skirt and top. Matching skirt and top, that would be like a fitted skirt with a top, they'll wear that to work. It will have like a repetitive print. Right. So they love prints. Denim is making a comeback. You have
like all things denim.
Yes.
Overall denim.
Yes, denim is making a strong comeback. And then you have different designers now manipulating it in different ways. Adire is here and back to stay. So I've noticed that there's quite a spotlight on sustainable fashion. So people like Ashoke, Adire, and so many other things. But at the same time, I've also noticed that fashion now, people express themselves differently. So there's no one trend. It's almost like I'm alternative, they call them alter, I'm Afrocentric, I'm contemporary, whatever you are, you own it boldly. Yeah.
Okay, so I wanted us to talk about talk more about the business side of fashion. So if I don't want to own a fashion line or a fashion label, how else can I make money in the fashion industry? So what else can I do?
It's very broad. You can own a store without owning a line. You can be a retailer. Okay. You can be a fashion photographer. Very lucrative. You'll never have enough photographers. You can be a model. You guys are so beautiful. Oh, yeah. Thank you. You can be a model. You can be a writer. You can be a journalist. Okay. It's very broad. You can own a factory, production. It's limitless. You can be a stylist.
And talking about writing, I mean, expressing yourself through fashion, styling people, and then writing about fashion, it seems a bit different. How were you able to, break in, to be able to not just express yourself through styling people, but to write about it through stories? And how did you get these opportunities writing for Vogue,
Genevieve Magazine, Wow Magazine?
How did you pull this all together?
You know the funny thing? When I started styling, I started working in fashion. I started as a stylist, and then I was told to go for an interview and go for a job, just an event in the Next on Sunday office and then to report about it. I had never written. And then I wrote and they loved it. And then I just found that I could write. So I started writing and I won an award. For writing, yes. I won an award, the Fab Awards for writing.
That's amazing.
So then I realized, okay, so maybe this writing thing should be taken seriously. So the lady, Franco Susani, the editor-in-chief of Vogue Italia, she came to Nigeria. She's late now. She's gone. Rest in peace. So she came and I remember, because then I was very intense. I was always thinking ahead because I really wanted to excel at this thing that my parents were not really supporting full on. So I think I had a bit of a chip on my shoulder. So I was always like really thinking. So she came and then people were just going up to her for selfies. So I sat far away and I was just staring at her. And that day I was wearing like this black vintage dress. So I had noticed she sort of like looked at my dress. I was like, okay, so I have one leg in. You know, like, you know how like you give me like,
yes.
I know, you know, so I was like, okay, but I don't want a selfie. I want more. I want more. So I was thinking. So I was just there, sitting and staring intently. And the next thing she was alone. And then I walked up to her and I said, I would love to write for you. And then she was like, okay. You have your phone? You have your phone? You have your phone? I was like, yeah, take this email. And then that was it. It was a paid gig. I was lucky. I sent a sample. So it was luck and, you know, fast thinking. Sometimes the best things in life come to you free. However, obviously, when you get it, you now have to. It was very hard, but there was a bit of luck as well.
Great, amazing, amazing, amazing. I want you to go on and on, but I have to go on a break. I hope you've enjoyed our talk so far today with our guest. We'll be back for more right after the break.
There has to be a decision point. The way your baby's presenting, we have to rush you in. And my partner